FSU Pistols and Pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
The Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Works better when you turn your mic on. Good to be with you. Thanks for being with us. Ira and Corey are here. We're all ready to continue the celebration. I do believe. Let's just start with Register Sausage. They gave away probably, 500,000 pounds of free sausage after this game across this great country, right?
He did put down a limit. He put a limit
on
it.
Yeah, okay.
Ben came through. He offered, I think it was the first 5 people that responded to his post on Twitter got, I think, 5 pounds of free sausage.
I knew it was a lot.
Like
That's,
that.
Yeah.
And then, but there's also a promo code, which I'm going to look up right now while you guys talk about Register Sausage.
I think Blocked was one of
is
them.
the promo code.
Blocked was one
in
of
all
them.
caps. I think it's 20 for.
By the way, shout out to Colhane. It's a great call. I know this is Ben's time, and we're going to get back to Register Sausage, but that's a great call by Colhane in the biggest moment of his early Florida State career.
Yeah, Tom and I brought it up yesterday on the wildly popular Jeff Cameron show. We did a little podcast. While we were driving.
On the road. I like it.
On the road, buddy. And we brought that up as well. I thought he was fantastic. And I've listened to it several times over, so that's a doff of the cap to Jeff Colhane. They did a great job.
Okay, and I screwed that all up. It was the first 10 people to buy a 5-pound sampler got with Blocked as the promo code, got 100% off. They got free sausage.
Wow, how about that?
Then everybody else, the rest of us who were sleeping or missed this yesterday, can use the promo code Victory Sausage in all caps, Victory Sausage, to get 20% off your order at registermeats.com. We recommend the andouille.
I like all of them. I've gotten to the point now.
The jalapeno cheddar. Yeah, you're right.
It's like picking a child. You're not going to pick your favorite child.
You can't do it.
Maybe go with the sampler.
Yay, sausage!
And if you're in the Southeast, you can get it in your grocers. And if your grocery store doesn't have it, like some stragglers don't have it, you need to complain peacefully.
So, we've had a little time. We all drove back yesterday, made our way back in. Ira and I got to do the Sunday Smash. If you missed it, I would invite you guys to go watch on Warchant TV. Don't forget, guys, all this great content Warchant.com provides, such as Wake Up Warchant, Seminole Headlines, the Jeff Cameron Show, all the articles, all of the greatness you've grown to expect. It's a buck. It's a buck. Let's go. Let's get on it. I have a feeling. I don't know this. It's just speculation on my part. They're going to pull the plug on the offer soon.
You think we're reaching critical mass?
Yeah, I agree. I have a suspicion that if you haven't
keep giving us away,
the powers that be are going to be like,
they're like, look, man, we've given everybody enough time. Let's go. It's a buck.
Well, one thing we found out about the Sunday Smash, and I think we're about to find out on Seminole Headlines, is that these shows are a lot. You cut off my mic because he has to call.
There it is. I got it. You're good.
But I still think it's probably going to come through on my mic.
Somewhat, but not nearly as bad. Not nearly as bad.
But these, man, this covering college football teams when they're 2-0, Corey's dipping out.
I said I turned his mic off altogether. Get out of here. Go get your life together.
It looked like he went to heaven. He just went into the white.
He's running away. Run towards the light.
And now you're back.
Are you okay?
I'm back, everyone. I'm back.
Right.
I had to clear some stuff out of my throat, gang. I didn't want to do it, and everybody listened to it.
Spit on the wall.
Yeah, I spit on the carpet.
By the way, so at 2-0, you can spit on the carpet. We're allowed to celebrate and
spit on
do what we
face.
do. We just do what we do at 2-0. Walk around here like we're ranked.
Been a long time.
It's been a minute.
6 years. 6 years since they've been 2-0.
Well, and then the best part about it is you get to let it really just kind of marinate, right? Because you get this bye week. We could use the bye week. I think New Orleans took it out of us a little bit. We could use the bye week. The team needs the rest as well. They're beat up a little bit.
Oh, for sure. I mean, talking to Jordan Travis after the game.
Yeah.
And if you watch the video, you can see it. I mean, he's kind of nursing it a little bit, and they're going to need this bye week. But at the same time, it's an important time for a young football team, for a football team that has not had success in a long time, as you just said, since 2016, in learning how to, we had some success, but now it's not because of just who you are, it's because of what you've done. It's about the preparation. And can those guys continue to buy into that? That to me is going to be the job Mike Norvell has to do over these next 2 weeks, is making sure those guys realize that there's a lot of things they need to get better at to continue winning.
I think everybody's got room to improve. It's one of the best parts about the win is that you got to win while making a lot of mistakes. And so coaches love that. They love the opportunity to point out, and he can look in the mirror himself, right? I mean, he made plenty of mistakes too, meaning Mike. So they all get to learn from that after a big win, and they can celebrate and gain the confidence. And at the same time, kind of there's a ton to point to there. Like, guys, we put could have put this away, could have made this an easy win. Instead, it became overly complicated. So you learn from that. And I do think that moving forward, an interesting dynamic, lending to your point. Good Lord.
Sorry, man. Sorry. I'm trying. I'm going to blame. Look, guys, I know when I eat food at a certain time, it's going to be like this for like 30 or 40 minutes. I try to eat an hour at least before the show.
So what happened?
Let's just say I went to a local establishment that's usually, I don't want to give away where I went, but it's usually freaky fast.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was not at all. To the point I had to pull out of the drive-thru and had to go somewhere else. And it delayed me by 30 minutes of getting where I wanted to eat.
So you've been racing around and you're just shoving food down your pie hole.
So I'm trying my best.
Let's get up a little earlier.
That's an option
Let's
too.
start the preparation. My point was going to be that now they're going to have to play, and this is a good thing. At some point, if you're turning the corner, this is going to be the reality. They're going to play with expectations. You know, I think that now there's a little bit of pressure because we just watched Louisville get trounced by sorry-ass Syracuse 31-7. I don't know how Louisville's going to play this week against UCF. God help them if they lose that game. The pitchforks will be out up there at Louisville, and Florida State will have every expectation to add to the misery. And all of a sudden, you know, instead of maybe the mentality of attacking, you're protecting. You know, because all of a sudden the fan base, and you shouldn't listen to the fans, I mean, if you're a coach or a player, but everybody can feel the weight of expectations. And this thought is, don't lose this game now. Don't undo what we've already done. You know, you'll start to feel that a little bit.
Florida State football has not had anything to lose in a long time.
Yeah,
correct.
And you could say they still don't have a whole lot to lose. You know, they're not at that point where they would be if they are 4-0 or 5-0 later in the season. But even at 2-0, you've got something. People are expecting something of Jordan Travis now. People are expecting something of that.
Yeah,
you know, that offensive line, the defensive line, the running backs who have to get better. It changes the dynamic.
I think it's because of the way they played for the majority of that game, where they were the better team, and it was pretty obvious. It was pretty obvious. I mean, I thought they were. Even Norvell said it afterwards. Like, we felt like he dominated a good portion of that game. They almost choked it away at the end. They didn't. They kind of did. The defense did. The offense did by fumbling there at the one. But you made a play, special teams, baby. And I've been preaching that for a while, guys. That I know you guys want them to just practice offense and defense all the time. I say practice more special teams.
That's what we always hear from him.
Special teams for life.
Oh, here we are in 11-on-11. Why can't we be doing special teams
special teams work on a wedge?
Yeah. So I would say again that even though special teams did taketh away and giveth.
Yeah.
And you can't go into a big game and have your opening kickoff go out of bounds.
You know what?
Do it again.
Yeah, you can. And you can win, and you can still win.
And you can be short on a 45-yard field goal, and you can shank two kicks.
From 45, it would have hit the post. That was a 47-yard kick. Get it right.
Yeah, okay.
47.
Well, either way, it was short in a dome. We're not kicking in Chicago winds here, my man. Let's not
kick indoors. Yeah. People always say it's tough to kick indoors, but
Joel Davis, you giving bastard, you. My goodness, that's awfully kind. It's weird that I stopped listening to FSU band music. Not stop listening to FSU band music for hours and hours since that win.
Well, that was what was cool about it. And Joel, he's a pillar. He's been around forever. He was at the meet and greet on Saturday with his son.
Good time talking.
Yeah, man, and it was. I can't believe that turnout. By the way, we undershot how starved this fan base was just for like a get together in New Orleans. I think by a factor of. I don't know, 10, 20.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people there. It was an overflow.
Yeah.
You know, just any win like this, man, was so desperately needed. And I almost think part of me thinks that, okay, say they go in and punch it in and win that game 31-17. Game's over. They won. Great. It's almost like they needed something. I know it wasn't good for everybody's hearts.
You don't need a heart attack.
It wasn't good for your hearts. But once they started driving down the field, everybody was like, yep, Florida State's going to lose it. They choke it away. This is what Florida State does. This is what this program has become the last 5 years. This is what they are. They give up a touchdown on the final play of a 99-yard drive after you fumbled at the one. Nobody wins it. Nobody blocks a PAT after that. But for Shaheem Brown to do what he did, man, it's like maybe that exercises some demons when it comes to this program. Well, not that they're going 12-0, but to win a game like that where you were stunned, you had a gut grenade go off, and you still end up winning the game.
Yeah, I got mixed emotions about that. I don't know that that's necessarily the case. I'm glad they won the damn game, obviously.
Do you think the players learn anything, though, from that experience of the last drive? Because everybody's killing Adam Fuller for the prevent defense. Man, there's like 5 plays that are basic football plays that any of a number of different guys on that defense could have made, from Jamie Robinson, who's your star all ACC safety, who lets a guy tiptoe down the sideline 10 yards. Derek McClendon, who just, I can't even explain what he did when he's spying
their
quarterback.
They're frozen. They're PTSD.
That's what I'm saying. There was several moments in Omarion Cooper just leaves a guy. It was almost like, like afraid to make a mistake, afraid to make a play.
Because the Jacksonville State game happened.
But can you learn from that?
Yes,
now
absolutely.
that you got the win. That's what I'm saying.
Well, you get that win, yes, but you do have to understand you still have to go out and make plays. I understand.
You got to keep playing the game.
You got to play the game. You got to play the game. I mean, they've given up 25-yard chunks at a time.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a foregone conclusion.
Jared Verse made a play that should have won the game. That should have wrapped up the game.
Yeah, put him back on the other side of the 50 with like 25 seconds
left. That
left.
sack should have ended the game, and then the very next play, you give up a 25-yard scramble
right in the middle of the defense.
In a prevent. That can't happen.
Yeah.
But
with a spy.
I don't know that we want to do the first segment complaining.
Let's just do this real quick. Let's say thanks to James B. James B has stepped in here and come up huge again. So great to see all of you once again at the meet and greet. My question, wasn't early Bowden aggressive in his play calling, and what was his fourth down conversion ratio? I don't know what his career fourth down conversion ratio was, but the Riverboat Gambler, as he was known, was very, very aggressive. There's a couple things there. If we're going to get specific about the fourth down call, if you want to argue in favor of going for it on fourth down there, I'm not going to push back nearly as hard as some people would. You just can't throw a fade to your 5'9", 5'10" receiver.
That can't be your best 2-yard play.
No, your option has to be Jordan Travis having a run-pass option or a direct. I mean, if you're going to hand it off, hand it off. But, I mean, there's just –
give me the 3 points, man.
Yeah,
because you're going to get the ball out of the –
But I'm saying I'm agreeing with you. I would have kicked it. But I can understand the argument against it. It's just that can't be the play.
Yeah.
And that's the frustrating thing is personnel misusage there. Look,
James B, thank you, by the way.
Yes,
a great pillar,
very
pillar
much.
of the program and of Warchant in general.
Thanks, James B.
Pensacola's finest.
I think another thing that we talked about last night, Ira, and I think the fan base recognizes, and it can leave you with a lot of consternation and hand wringing. We're also watching a coach have to grow up. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that needs to be said.
Did you like his answer after when I asked him about the pitch?
Yes,
I
and
like
no.
that he didn't defend it like
he didn't
absolutely.
Back down.
Well, no, but he wasn't staunch defending it the way we've seen other coaches do.
No, I wasn't mad at him. Right. I just think, okay, I get it. But listen, we don't.
And he did come back yesterday speaking to Andrea Adelson from ESPN. He said, "Yeah, there was too much risk for the reward."
Correct. And that's good to hear.
So grow up, and that's part of growing up.
He's got to grow up. There's a lot of things that our fan base sees from him that they can love. They can love it. I mean, right? These kids play hard as hell for him.
Yeah.
I mean, they love their coach. That means a lot, guys. It really does. I mean, the three of us have been in a room where guys don't love their coach, and you sense it, you feel it. There's a weight that comes with it. It ain't good. And we saw a lot of it at the end of Jimbo's time, and we saw it at Willie's time.
How about
there were guys looking around like, man, this ain't it. These guys love this coach. Now, that said, he's still having to mature. I mean, I think a coach that has been seasoned and won some games and expects to win some games isn't reacting the way that he did at the end of that game. Although I don't have a problem with emotion, that was more relief.
I think that
they
was
didn't
relief,
choke.
man.
That was relief. But I'm saying
it wouldn't have been that way if it was any other situation,
right?
Yeah,
but
I don't think so.
Yeah, he thinks, man, how are we going to win this game in overtime?
He thinks if I lose this game, man, we could have a problem.
And
I mean,
he got a life raft.
And it had been
he was Tom Hanks talking to the volleyball, and he sees a boat in the horizon.
Yeah, but Papuchis ended up being his boat. But Papuchis was his savior.
He's like, jump on my back. You've seen what I've done with these special teams.
You know those footprints? That's when I was carrying you. That's Papuchis.
Go ahead.
But real quick though, the video they put out of him running down the hallway, going to the locker room, Jared Jackson lifting him up like he's a rag doll.
They love him.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, they see that, and I'm fine with that. I know a lot of the old school guys will be like, come on.
Well, it had been 15 minutes since he had called that, literally 15 minutes of real time since he had called that pitch play because of just the delay and everything else. I mean, like, he looked like he'd seen a ghost. Like, he looked physically ill.
Well,
he'd had to have been going over in his head for 15 minutes. What did I just do? Not that it was his fault. Trayshawn catch the ball, man.
Yeah.
Not that it's all Norvell's fault.
Not a great pitch.
It could have been a better pitch.
I was going to say, not a great pitch.
Yeah, all of it. All of it was just too much risk, but still you can execute that play and win the game. That happens. But so I really do think the next time they win on a blocked field goal, or they just say the next time they win a game, an important game, I don't know that you're going to see him doing cartwheels and jumping on people's backs.
Well,
but
even in the moment, by the way, even in the moment, after he is filled with ecstasy and celebrating, you see him quickly gather, realizing, oh, this is too much. He's almost policing himself because he's got to go shake hands with Brian Kelly. And you can tell he's thinking, get it together, Mike. I like that I see that process in him. Like, even answering your question, as he answers the question, like, well,
he could see when you were asking the question, he started to kind of smile.
He knows where that's going, just like he knows that he's probably crossing a line in the celebration. And I'm not judging that. I'm just saying we're watching a coach have to mature in a very high-profile job. I'm going to get to these in a second because folks are coming in hot here. I want to make sure we thank everybody. Again, no need to nitpick. I think the thing is that you can recognize a ton of mistakes were made. You can also say out loud and with confidence, Florida State was a much better football team than LSU.
Yeah.
And now there are real expectations. And again, I'm going to beat the drum for people who haven't heard it because I was certainly critical and have been. So I need to circle back, and I've done this a lot in every outlet that I could. Good on you, Jordan Travis.
Oh, man.
I just want to continue to say that for people who haven't heard me say it because I've been critical. He looked like a different quarterback in the face of a lot of adversity with a lot of different looks. They threw a ton of stuff at him.
During the game,
so
I almost kind of
from every different angle.
During the game, I kind of I saw it, but I didn't. Watching it back, holy mackerel,
he
man.
was incredible.
They threw so much at him.
I turned to you guys at halftime. I'm like, this is it. Jordan Travis. This is the story, man. To me, that I was in shock to watch the way he processed the levels. This was a guy who accounted for many moments in a game where he knew that this was an unblocked defender coming his way. And it had to be. By the way, it's on him. You either have to make him miss or you have to wear it and make this throw.
Yeah.
And he either did that.
The dime to Pokey Wilson.
He wears it, and he's just fine.
By the way,
that's what quarterbacks do.
That was the all-time targeting of targeting. Like, I didn't know kids did that anymore.
They're going to use that as teaching film.
That teaching film. Like, look, if you want to target a kid and if you want to earn the ejection, this is what you do.
Previously, you had to show Deacon Jones.
Right.
But now you can just show this kid.
What is it, number 11? Whatever. And that guy's an NFL player. That was crazy that he did that, man.
Oh, man, it's fun. Hey, let's all catch up. Let's gather. There's a lot here. We're all happy and excited.
More throat clearing in the break.
Well, you do that. I need to get to some guys that have contributed and asked questions. We've got a lot to get to today. Everybody, deep breath.
Stay with us.
Yay, sausage. 2-0. A lot more to discuss here on Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
This is Kyle, service manager from Barano Heating and Air. Schedule an appointment from your mobile device to learn about our Total Comfort Service Program. With guaranteed same-day service, 15% off necessary repairs, and $25 berry books to use towards air filters and other products. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Any day, anytime, anywhere. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
You were always more than my mom. You were my role model, my best friend, and biggest supporter. You filled my days with unconditional love. And you also prepared for the day when you couldn't be here. Because of the woman you were back then, I'm able to be the woman I am now. Your planning made this moment possible.
Set your family up for life. Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance. Your friends for life.
This is Andy Cohen. When I was a law enforcement officer, I devoted my life to a career of service and protection. Who's protecting you? Give me a call. 850-671-FARM. That's 671-FARM. Helping you is what we do best.
Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi. Not licensed to do business in all 50 states.
Physical stress on our bodies can take its toll as the years go by. Whether you're looking to get back into an old sport or just want to spend more time outdoors to explore all life has to offer in our beautiful city, the dedicated team at TOC is here for you every step of the way. You can trust TOC for all your orthopedic needs. And now, scheduling an appointment has never been easier. Just visit teamtoc.com and click schedule online. That's teamtoc.com.
Football at El Jalisco, football at El Jalisco, what a combination. It's a great big celebration. It's football at El Jalisco. I can dig it. Who's playing? Oh, man, everybody. The ACC, the SEC, all the C's, and even the pros. The Bucks, the Steelers, the Giants, the Cowboys. Wow, far out. You bet, man. When the game is on, it's on at El Jalisco with incredible specials on everything from frosty cervezas to salty margaritas. Does Margarita know? Dios mío, not again. The best place to watch the game is El Jalisco. College, pros, Monday night, Thursday night, you name it, El Jalisco is football headquarters. And with 5 Tallahassee area locations, there's probably an El Jalisco right around the corner right now.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Roll it on, Seminole Headlines. Now, let me get to the meat and potatoes here, and we'll get to other folks as well, but you guys came out the gates awfully kind, and we do appreciate that. C-Dale 231, just thinking if people think this team can win 9 games, the 3 games we think we'll lose, can we not win them? No, we don't want to say it, but I mean, it's not impossible. Well, I'll say this.
Let's slow down a little bit, C-Dale. Thank you very much for the donation, man. That's very kind.
Yeah, I'm gonna say,
or a lady, whoever you are.
We don't know. C-Dale, thank you.
I think C-Dale, you're going to be that's a man, right? That's
Dale
like
could be the last
Clark.
Yeah, you don't
All right.
know.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
Clark is last name.
Yeah, I know.
Could be Charlotte.
But I don't
Dale,
think women refer to themselves as like their first initial last name very often.
Why is that?
I don't know. Just don't think they do. I think they're more
It's
polished.
because Corey thinks women are inferior.
But they got smaller brains, but I wouldn't say they're inferior.
So I want to say that, C-Dale, you can look at it both ways. You could say, sure, in the games that predictably you think Florida State will be underdogs in, they could win them. But if you're trying to suggest that Florida State's going to go 12-0, no.
You just want a coin flip.
You
just want a game because of a block extra point. And that's going to be, I think that's going to be a lot of the season. It's going to games come down in the final 5 minutes. Or
well, I would say this, though. If they play like they did from the second series to the 5-minute mark of the fourth quarter,
they're not going 12-0.
No, I'm saying, but that's some of these close games we think are going to be coin tosses may not be coin tosses.
Maybe.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I think
if they play like they did during that stretch of that game, I don't think Wake Forest is a game. I don't think Boston College is a game.
Correct.
I think Florida State. I mean, that LSU defense was pretty good, man. And the offense went up and down the field.
Yeah, they punted twice.
Made third down after third down. I mean, again,
third down play calling was exceptional.
Yeah.
And
the QB saw it almost every play.
Mike was in his bag, as I like to say.
Well,
he and the kids.
They also exposed the middle of the field. And that's not something Jordan's been able to do in the past with any degree of consistency. So, again, kudos
flipping
to him.
it in there too, man. Like just see it and flipping it in there. It was all.
That's preparation. That's a confidence that comes through preparation.
There were a couple throws that had me nervous where he kind of went back against the grain, but you could tell he was so sure he had the guy that it wasn't like a prayer.
I bet Mike to me, Tony Tokarz is probably having a conversation about we need to lose the double clutch. If I'm going to nitpick, we need to lose the double clutch. But other than that,
and I'm guessing that's what happened on the flea flickers. Maybe the flea flicker.
Yeah, the flea flicker.
That he maybe didn't have a good grip on the ball.
Yeah, because you
got to get rid of it quickly.
You got to get rid of it. Yeah. Mark, Thank you very much. Good times in NOLA, guys. Was watching the replay again, and that targeting, spearing attack on Jordan got me upset again. Any chance he's suspended and not just sitting for a half in LSU's cupcake game against Southern?
I was thinking about this. If he's in the NFL, what's the fine?
It's $10,000, $50,000.
Yeah, 50,000.
It might be 100. I mean, that was insane.
hefty.
No, it really
Now, if it had been on a good quarterback, I mean, that's a huge.
Jordan Travis is a good quarterback.
I'm saying in the NFL.
Oh,
because
yeah.
If it had been
That's
on
Tom Brady.
Mahomes
See what happens.
or Tom Brady,
Yeah.
Man,
but in college, we're just going to.
whatever. Yeah, you suspended for a half. Or I guess he gets the next half, too. He's suspended for half of that game anyway. But that's what I think targeting should be. If it's that, it's hard to judge intent. Not on that one, it wasn't.
Yeah.
And if you know the guy intentionally speared the dude with his head in the head, man, yeah, that should be like an automatic 2-game suspension or something. If you're trying to clean it up, not all targeting should be the same. The ones that are accidental is the same punishment as that.
Right.
Well, first of all,
asinine.
the ones that are accidental shouldn't be called.
Well, sure.
Secondly, this was always what you were trying to get rid of. This is what you're trying to get rid of.
Why should the
not
punishment be the
accidental
same?
Collisions. Now, that said,
Poor Trey Marshall. Poor Trey Marshall's just running down on special teams that gets called for targeting. This kid tries to take Jordan Travis's head off, and it's the same punishment.
That said, if you want proof that a guy was guilty, look at his reaction when he sees the replay. When you go back and watch, they show his reaction. He's looking at the big screen. He's shocked that he did it. Yeah. He's like, he realizes that he did it.
And I think that was a moment. And again, none of us have ever played that level of sports, but that was a frustration.
Oh, he's angry.
He's
tired of the fact that they can't do anything to shake him up.
Exactly. And then I think to defend Akeem Dent a little bit, his shove on the other play, I mean, it was dumb, but I almost think it was like, I want to get back at your quarterback for doing.
Well, then get back at if you're going to get 15
really
yards,
spear him in the ribs and earn it.
Dive at his knees, man. I mean, that was crazy. That was crazy to get a 15-yard penalty for a push.
It was.
And I'm not obviously
changed the whole game.
Don't dive at his knees, Akeem. I was just kidding on that. But and thank you, Mark, for the donation,
thanks, Mark.
man. That's very
Appreciate
nice.
It's good talking to you.
Got to have dinner with Mark and his lovely wife Lauren.
And
Friday night.
Did you get the invitation?
No, you guys weren't invited.
Okay.
Jeff was doing his own thing the whole weekend.
I don't know about all that. I was with you for a good
that
chunk
same
of
night.
the weekend.
I met you that night afterwards at the casino.
Yeah, come on now.
He kept kissing me on the
I
forehead.
Kissed your
Or he
bald
kissed
head.
my bald head probably
It
8
wasn't
to
your
10
forehead.
times.
It was your bald head.
It was the back of my head.
Now I feel good. I wasn't invited.
Yeah, good times. Jason writes, "Keep up the great work, gents. No nation needed that win." Yeah.
Thank you very much, Jason.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you very, very much.
He's a contributor to Wake Up Warchant as well. We're getting all the big guns out here for the post LSU win headlines edition.
So
exciting
good to
win.
see you, Jason.
So going back to just the way they played, I mean, we're out there practice. It surprised me how well they played because I don't think the offense doesn't function at that level sometimes at practice. Now that goes to probably the defense knowing what's going to come, but that's why it's hard to sometimes know, even if you're at practice, how it's actually. So I was curious. I had heard how confident they were last week, the coaches and the players, but you still don't know. Do they really know? And I felt like during the game, when the offensive players realized, man, we're picking up third down after third down, and we're making it almost like they realized it doesn't matter what you throw at us, we have an answer. And you could see that confidence building during the game.
I think it all goes back to the quarterback, man. Like they have to have the utmost belief in that kid now. After what he did to end last season, he was the only reason they were competitive on offense really the whole season. And then to carry it over into this game, like he was playing on that stage, to play like he did. I mean, he was the best player on the field, I thought.
Yeah.
I
agree.
Anybody that stepped on the field, he was the best player on the field. Wyatt Rector, great game though.
Yeah,
making tackles and recovering fumbles.
There are a lot of guys that played well.
So that has to give them so much confidence moving forward.
But Corey, I want to say this because it's important. As a thrower, that's the thing. Everybody knew Jordan could run. Everybody knew Jordan kept plays alive. Everybody knew Jordan could make
still
something
in the
happen.
He had 30 yards rushing in that game.
Because
I would have never
he
dreamed.
hung in there and threw the ball. Florida State didn't have any semblance of a drop-back passing game a year ago. Now, that's not all Jordan's fault. I've said that a million times. So his line wasn't great. He didn't have a lot of receivers to throw to, but Jordan also rushed it and was inaccurate. Teams forced him to have to throw the ball. LSU's goal was to force him to throw the ball and put pressure on him, right, to see if he'd hang in there. He threw the ball. He threw the ball. He took hits. He was able to make guys miss, but kept his eyes downfield. Threw the ball accurately down the seam, which has been a criticism I've had of him. So Jordan answered every question LSU's defense posed. So
and they posed a lot. That was not a vanilla
correct.
defense, and they didn't have any time to prepare
At one point,
They
I
hadn't
was
played a
jotting
game
it
yet.
down in my notes to see the different looks because I was just looking at LSU's defense to see what they were throwing at him. And by the time we got to about the fourth or fifth different look and 2 exotics, I went, they can't shake him. They can't shake him. He's fine. He has an answer. He knows where to go with the football pre-snap. He is very confident. And there was only one play that I counted where he was surprised, which is, the other team's on scholarship too. So there was one play. And even on that play, it's the play where he hops back because he's surprised. He didn't see the pressure coming from the right side. He makes that guy miss and then makes a hell of a throw between 2 guys. So if that's your quarterback every Saturday, you can win any one of these games to answer that other question. To be sure, things aren't always going to go well, and you do have to clean up your mistakes, but you got a fighting chance in every game you play this year because your quarterback is worlds better than he was. And there'll be other questions they have to answer, and we'll find out what those are as the season goes on.
I'll be honest, I didn't like really the way any of the running backs played, honestly. And that I think the biggest challenge going into this next week, or the biggest gauntlet you throw down to a position group, is like, oh, okay, y'all just going to run hard when it's Duquesne. Like when there's a hole there. Like I didn't think any of them ran especially all that hard. I thought Trayshawn had some nice moments, but then he has a crippling fumble. They've got to play better as a group, because if you did all that essentially with your running backs averaging 3 yards a carry.
And the fact that they limited the rotation. Trayshawn had like 16 carries. Benson had like 6.
They really didn't like. I didn't like anything from Benson. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. They saw something early with Benson that they were like, okay, we're not. This is probably too big for him at this point. Because that guy, that was his second real college football game of significance.
His only real college game. And
I'll suggest though, even with the loss of Mason, that is one of the best fronts you're going to see.
Yeah.
So
the guy they brought in for Mason Smith is big time.
Big time.
No, that's the point.
This
right?
was the conversation we were having before the game, was that trying to move the ball against this defense was going to be difficult. And so Louisville's front is not LSU's front. So I have a sense that the running backs who were searching, they'll get better.
That's what I'm saying. And so think about what this offense could potentially look like when you have a passing game that I thought clicked better than it has in a long, long time. Look, he had 2 or 3 really bad drops. They could have had 35, 38 points on the board. The passing game was terrific all night. And then you have a running game that really didn't get on track, but will against lesser teams. You have that in your bag where you don't have to convert a bunch of 3rd and 8s and 3rd and 9s.
Let's not ignore some of the first week evidence that we have here, but it's further proof that A, Florida State's got to get out of this conference, and B, the ACC sucks. This was, they're going to have, that's a middling ass conference.
Yeah,
that was embarrassing.
They're
what
all
we saw
winnable
this
games
week from the
Hey,
ACC.
man, they're going to be running this conference pretty shortly.
Boston College gets a break. They beat Rutgers. They just got some bad breaks.
Oh, that's all it was.
And NC State, North Carolina, they got wins on the road, should say. Big road wins.
I want to give a shout out to Daniel Cantrell. I'm not trying to pronounce it, for his support. He's actually a good guy. I've exchanged some emails.
Unlike these other people,
what is that?
He's somebody I can speak for that you guys don't probably know. But anyway, I've interacted with him a little bit. Really nice guy, and appreciate the support.
Yeah, I do too. And
thanks, Daniel.
If I miss any of these, you two pipe up. That's fine. We got a lot going on here. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
More local news now.
The Florida Highway Patrol responded to an incident Saturday night in the area of U.S. Highway 27 north of County Road 137 in Suwannee County. An SUV driven by a 48-year-old woman of O'Brien was traveling south on U.S. 27. For an unknown reason, a pedestrian and bicycle were in the southbound lane as the SUV approached. The SUV struck the bicycle and pedestrian, a 56-year-old man of Old Town, was pronounced dead at the scene. The incident remains under investigation. The Tallahassee Police Department arrested a suspect for an armed robbery that happened at the ATM at First Commerce Credit Union around 6:50 p.m. last Tuesday. Michael Simpkins approached the victim and pointed a gun at him, demanding money. During the robbery, a vehicle with 2 occupants pulled up to the ATM and distracted Simpkins, which allowed the first victim to pull away and notify a nearby FHP trooper. Simpkins ordered the occupants of the vehicle to give him their money and then fled the scene. Authorities were able to catch up to the suspect, and Simpkins is now in custody. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MaclemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Chance for scattered thunderstorms this afternoon. Otherwise, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Highs level off around 93. Winds out of the west, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chance for scattered thunderstorms again tonight. Lows dip down to about 74. Partly cloudy skies. Chance for scattered storms tomorrow. Highs level off around 90. Cloudy skies expected. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 89.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business 5 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
Chattanooga, Tennessee. Pastor Tabner was alone with a female church employee. She in a towel and he in his boxers. The charismatic 41-year-old Hurley explained the two of them had been making chili and gotten food on their clothes. With the hot dogs that they were making, we are hoping that the pastor used the right condiments.
I think there was at least one hot dog involved.
I don't know what you're talking about. We were just making chili dogs.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3.
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Winning season has officially returned, and with NFL preseason live, there are plenty of opportunities to win at MyBookie. Not preseason anymore, guys. Whether you're a season bettor or a first-timer, MyBookie gets you most money for your deposit. Double deposit bonus, by the way, up to $1,000. All you got to do is sign up. Use promo code WARCHANT on your first deposit, and you'll instantly double your money with MyBookie. It's simple. $250 deposit puts 500 bones in your account. Use your funds to bet as many individual contests or props as you want. Bet on team win totals, predict the Super Bowl winner, or use the MyBookie prop builder to give yourself the edge you need to secure the big bag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.
I made a healthy sports gambling wager while I was in New Orleans at the sports book.
How'd it go for you?
What was it
it didn't go well. I mean, it went well, all things considered.
You picked LSU.
I did.
Yeah.
But mostly like I did, I didn't believe what I was picking. It was the same principle when I picked the Astros to beat the Braves. I'm like, okay, if it goes poorly for our company and for our endeavor, at least I'll make a substantial amount of money on the side. And instead it went the back. It went the back way, but I felt good. I felt good about it. I felt really good losing that money because of what it meant long-term for everyone. All of you guys, what it meant. How happy everybody is.
We all have our issues. All of us. We all have our foibles, things that are Piccadillys.
Piccadillos, I think.
Piccadillos.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you bet against the Braves and then refuse to watch the World Series is an interesting
approach. Well, let's get into this too, because I just want you guys to know there is a phenomenon going on. So for those that don't know, because I can't remember what I talked about on maybe on the Wake Up Warchant podcast.
Yeah, you missed the blocked
extra point. I missed the blocked extra point. So I watched that every play of the 99-yard, 14-minute, heart-sucking, stomach blowing up drive. And then when he scored with no time left.
What was the thought there? Because you got up and I was like, is he going to the field? I didn't know what you did.
So I
thought you were headed for the field.
I had been holding it. You guys know I drink a lot of water.
Mm-hmm.
I had been holding it for probably 30 minutes, as long as that drive had been going on.
You couldn't hold it another minute?
No, I thought because I wanted to be sure I was back in time for overtime. So I'm like, okay, once I saw Brian Kelly hold the one finger up, I'm like, Daddy's got to go now. Like, I've been waiting for too long. That replay took 1,000 minutes. So I went and we got to talk about that too, because I don't understand the rule there. So I'm in the bathroom, literally doing my business. Well, number one, folks, I wasn't. And I hear that loud roar, and I'm like, man, I get it. Kid's a freshman. It's a pretty, it's a pretty dicey point after attempt, but that's a loud roar.
There was half the crowd was for the other team. Buddy.
Yeah, it's a loud roar. and it's a long roar. Like, I get being loud, like happy in the moment. Okay, made it.
This is a sustained
but
roar.
it's a sustained roar. And I'm like, that's not, something just happened, man. And I couldn't tell because there were so many Florida State people, even though we're in the LSU section. I'm like, that could have been the LSU fans cheering. And I went out and I saw Florida State fans, Florida State players running around the field and LSU guys walking off slowly. And I'm like, all right, big dub. Big dub. I don't need to watch any plays anymore. Apparently, only good things happen when I don't watch. So that leads to the phenomenon of not watching the Braves, Ira. You saw it with your own eyes.
But you could not have projected that. You could not have known that.
No, of course not.
I'm not talking about the blocked kick. Of course you couldn't have known that. But you could not have known that either with the Braves. Just be a grown-up and watch your teams play.
Well, I do now.
I'm letting you know.
I do know.
Okay.
But
Robert writes, big win, boys. Now that Travis is a bona fide quarterback and we've seen a deeper look into Mike's playbook, how would you describe our offensive identity going forward? I.e. Jimbo equals pro style, Willie easily face the opposite direction.
That was just the one play. That was more Bryles.
He was just setting that up.
Man,
the whole
nicely done, Robert. Well,
thank you,
obviously,
Robert. Thank you for the contribution, man.
I think a lot of counters, a lot of misdirection, obviously, and a lot of well-timed chances, kind of fun plays too. I mean, it was a perfect time for the flea flicker, not just because it worked. I mean,
yeah,
he set it up well.
Yeah, and the play before that looked like a cluster. Was not effective at all. But then the flea flicker, man, it could not have come off better.
I want to say that I don't need that much more evidence to tell you that Mike Norvell is a better play caller than Dillingham. Yeah. I'm going to feel pretty good about that.
Nice afternoon for Dillingham on Saturday, I thought. Welcome to Oregon.
And it, in my assertion, has nothing to do with the robust 3 points that Oregon scored against Georgia.
I haven't checked the Oregon message boards. I wonder what they're feeling about that hire.
A lot of the blanks. Yeah. By the way, thank you very much, Robert.
Thanks,
very,
Robert.
very much appreciate that.
Yeah, I thought Norvell had a really good game, like almost the entire game, except inside the 5-yard line. Other than that, I thought he had an exceptional game.
Oh, the game plan was exceptional. Yeah.
Yeah, and as far as what the identity is, I think that was a sincere part of the question, not just taking shots at Willie, but I really do think what he talks about, an offense built for playmakers, it really is about figuring out their matchups against your defense and then figuring out how to create those matchups and exploit them. And it's going to be a variety of different ways. This is not going to be a team that just runs inside zone over and over and over or out. This is, they do a lot of different things from a lot of different looks with the intent of getting their best players lined up against mismatches.
Yeah, and in that sense, you hear coaches, I remember John Gruden used to talk about this all the time. All the motion that Gruden used to use was to try to isolate one-on-ones with athletes. Deuce Spann was utilized well in this game. Somebody brought up jet sweeps, and I was thinking about Deuce, quick throws out to him. Look, they do have a lot of ways to attack you because there's some versatility to the offense, especially because of the quarterback's legs. So at the end of the day, you're right. I think that he knew going into this game, you're not going to line up and just blow LSU off the ball and run between the tackles. So he did he was pretty smart the way that he got Jordan off the spot a lot of times, and that was smart. I think LSU was reeling. He wanted them side to side. He was trying to wear them out, and I think that was a smart move as well. At the end of the day, he had a good day. It's fun to watch a team execute kind of a vision of a coach who's in a rhythm, and you saw that. I think the offense is the most sustainable thing that we watched. I believe they're going to score a lot of points this year. Knock on wood, they don't have any more injuries up front because that would be the only thing that derails that. Part of what FSU did to Jaden Daniels, which is through the first 3 quarters, the entirety of LSU's offense is him just running around after something's not there. That had to do with them just basically playing too high and saying, look, you're going to have to make great throws, and we don't think you can before we get pressure on you. And that's where Verse had such a big game.
That was the other thing I was going to say. It's something we probably haven't talked about a ton. I thought the pass rush was better than I expected it to be.
Yeah, Verse was better than I thought he'd be.
Right off the bat, that first drive, Verse crashes inside. I mean, he knocked that offensive tackle off his feet.
Yeah.
But then went too far inside, and Jaden Daniels breaks outside. They lose some contain a few times.
What a good lesson to learn because you're going to be playing Willie Cunningham.
Right.
So, I mean, here it is. Like, if you're a defensive coach.
And Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
Like, all these
you
guys.
keep going. There's a bunch of them, right? So, if you're Papuchis, here you go. Like, hey, man, that's why at this level, you can't do that. He's going to just do that. In Albany, I doubt he ever had to worry about it. He crashed inside, then hawked the dude down, before he got 3 yards.
He was flying to try to catch him, after he blew it.
Yeah.
But you're not catching
You're
that
not
guy the way
catching
you
that
catch
guy.
this.
These are different dudes running the ball. So what a good lesson to learn early in a game of that magnitude. I bet he doesn't do it again against Malik Cunningham.
He showed what we've seen, and he showed why everybody wanted him. I mean, that was in that moment his first. I mean, he's from Albany. He played football at Albany last year. He was in the Superdome with 6 million people watching. In literally, I think, right? Wasn't that the ratings? Like over
6.3 million,
over
like
6 million. And he has two. That's like I said, that sack is as clutch a sack as a Florida State player's had in a good long while. It just didn't end up mattering because the next 3 plays. But that should have ended the game. That should have iced the game. For him to have 2 sacks, a blocked kick, he drew 2 more holds. Like, man, that's as good
he's had a good debut, if you will. Yeah.
But still a ton of work left. Like, if you watch the goal line play, they score on 4th down. I mean, he got pushed out of the way. We just talked about losing containment a few times. That's the stuff. He hasn't played a lot of any real football at this level. Duquesne doesn't count. He hasn't really played. This is his first time playing guys like this. So there are going to be some growing pains, but you see the flashes, which is the same with the wide receivers. He's got more potential, I think, than this wide receiver group. I think Jared Verse could be a high pick, but you see what these wide receivers could be, and how much better they are than they were last year. But there's still going to be some growing pains with these guys.
I just like that the defensive line really dominated, because the thing going into this game, we so
they
much
couldn't
talk,
run at all, right?
So
They
much
didn't have
talk,
any real running game.
so much talk about LSU's defensive front against Florida State's offensive line. The Florida State's offensive line hung in there, it gave them a chance. On the other side of the ball, we thought the defensive line would have a chance against the young, rebuilt offensive line, and they dominated them. They dominated them.
Yeah, they did. Ray brought up something here. I think it's going to be very interesting to see over the next 2 weeks, because you got this week to get healed up and to work on some of your mistakes. I don't know what's going on with Duke Cooper. We're going to have to see the version we saw at the end of last year. He hasn't shown up and did not have a great night. And I don't know what that is, but because FSU going to have to answer those questions some. Now, for 3 quarters, you could say, hey, look, they completely shut down this very good wide receiving course. Some of that has to do with Jaden Daniels not being a very good quarterback who just takes off if something's not there and doesn't hang in there and throw the ball. And he missed 4 throws by like a combined 80 yards. I mean, there was a throw on the left side. He's got a wide open tight end. He throws it in the stands. So you're going to see more accurate passers.
100%.
Yeah, and so I'm just kind of curious what they're going to do there. They have some options. They brought guys in for the reason. Clearly, they saw something they didn't love in camp, because that's why you bring the Jacksonville State kid in at corner and you don't use it at another position. I think they were a little worried that is not an area of expertise. And how quickly can Azareye'h Thomas and Sam McCall be out there? And
yeah, I mean, that's a good question. It is weird with Amarian Cooper, and we talked about it during camp when we were out there at practice. In the first week or so of camp, Amarian Cooper was dominant.
He was dominant, and then it just stopped.
He was dominant all spring.
He was dominant all spring.
Right.
He was
we
the
just
best
thought
player
more
on
of the
defense.
same, more of the same.
Yeah,
and
he
then
looked
it
like
just
he
went
did.
away.
Yeah,
but that's why I really, really do appreciate getting to watch practice, because that kind of performance didn't come out of nowhere. Like and I've been saying as much. Like, I want to see more from Amarian Cooper than I'd seen the last really all of camp.
I think it's interesting, Corey, to give you credit. I remember one day we were over at practice, and it was probably the 3rd straight bad practice he'd had. And we were all walking out, and you're like, this is getting to be a problem. He needs to play better tomorrow. And I remember you said that. You were talking about Duke Cooper, and it was just sort of like, man, he's having some trouble out here today.
Yeah.
And so
you weren't seeing him winning the one-on-ones the way he was.
No.
But like you did in the spring and for the first week of camp, he looked like he was going to be the next great FSU DB, and then something.
And he may still be, but for whatever reason,
something's gone on the last month.
Something has happened.
It wasn't just maybe
he got dinged a little bit. We know that.
Sure.
I don't think it had anything to do
I don't
with
think
that.
it
No, I'm not saying
that,
this
man.
game. I'm just saying there was that. We talked about a whole month of him not playing.
I don't. Yeah, and maybe we'd never get a real answer on it, but he just has not looked like the same guy for a while, and that's concerning, because if he was the guy I thought he was going to be, the way he looked at the end of last season all spring, I'm like, that's a shutdown dude. You have one of the best corners in the ACC on that side. And now you don't.
Now you don't. And Renardo had a nice game.
I like Renardo. He played fine.
You know what I like about Renardo is he has a little bit of what Jarvis Brownlee had.
Some toughness.
Yeah, man, he's a tough kid, and
we agree on that
he wants to be
completely.
physical.
Yeah, he is physical. He does tackle. He's a sure tackler. And I think he's a guy that, you can count on to be, an average to slightly above average corner. He's not a dominant corner, and I don't think he's going.
But that was the big thing I thought you lost with Jarvis Brownlee, is some of that toughness, and I think he gives it to you.
let's hope that they figure out something there, because I think that at the end of the day, if they don't have Duke Cooper that they can trust, you can get exposed. I mean, that's good. You're going to face some better quarterbacks in this league. We know that.
Probably not better receivers, but a better quarterback.
But you'll find a much better quarterback who will put the ball on receivers when they're open. I thought Florida State's corners were okay, especially for the first 3 quarters. The safeties were really good for Florida State for 3 quarters.
And that's what I was going to say is you do have really good safeties. I feel better about the pass rush than I expected to. And I think the linebackers can play in coverage. If the corners are suspect, I don't think they're going to be a huge liability. But overall, I still feel like this defense has a chance, because my big question mark was would they have any pass rush at all?
The answer was yes.
I think they are going to have a pass rush.
Well, you thought Cooper was a guy, though.
Yeah, I know.
You know, that's the one holdup. I mean, he might still be. He might end up being.
But
one.
what saved you last year was that pass rush, because your corners were not great last year.
Well, if you have a pass rush, they don't have to be great. They only have to be average. I need Duke Cooper to get back to at least average.
Yeah.
I mean,
I can't even imagine what he's doing on that last play. I know he's supposed to have outside leverage.
There was another play earlier in that.
Well, he was targeted a lot in this game, and if Jaden Daniels makes some throws,
I think that. But he was targeted 6 times and gave up 6 completions. In that last throw, I know he's supposed to have outside leverage. You can't get beat to the outside. He knows he has help in the middle, but you can't just let the dude run free right by you.
It just seemed very passive, and that's the way he was playing. But
was bad.
I think the fact that they didn't go to Jarian Jones more, the fact they don't, Azareye'h Thomas,
other guys aren't up to speed yet.
But this will be an interesting week or two
because they get the time. That's what I was saying. You got 2 weeks, so let's figure out: is there somebody else you can get ready to play,
or is there a way to reach him to bring back what he was? Because again, last year when he got on the field, it was instant. He made an impact.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I agree.
He changed the defense.
By the way, guys, we're getting a lot of this in the chat, and I understand it because not everybody has heard the news. But Fabian Lovett tweeted out he's fine. So we have a lot of questions about Fabian Lovett. He's fine. And he even said so himself. So I'm quoting him.
Also, give Fabian Lovett a little shout out. I mentioned him on the Smash last night, but man, he went over to Ryan Fitzgerald after the missed field goal and was trying to
and after both kickoffs,
trying to kind of again, that's for a defensive tackle to do that. It's impressive. And again,
we don't know what he was telling him. It looked encouraging.
Seemed encouraging.
It looked encouraging. But he might have said, "Man, you do that again. Do that again and see what happens."
Well, you shouldn't have to go over 3 times in the same game to encourage your kicker. I mean, once I got you
3 times in 12 minutes.
3 times I got to come over here and ask what the hell you're doing, man. Come on, baby. Come on. Hour number 2, we'll get the headliner questions. Is forthcoming. Hang in there. Seminole Headlines returns 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV in a moment.
Sellers Tile does it better for business owners, contractors, designers, and homeowners. Better design ideas, better quality tile, carpet, and hardwood flooring, better mosaics, ceramic, and vinyl solutions. And Sellers makes it easier with their amazing showroom and first-class professionals. Maybe it's time to get Sellers working for you on Capitol Circle Northeast, just north of Mahan Drive, or online at sellerstile.com for better style, quality, and design. Go with Sellers in Tallahassee. Call 656-8453.
Hey guys, it's Greg Tish. I know it's still warm outside, but Hearth and Patio wants to remind you that the cooler temperatures are coming. They will be here shortly. Now is the time to get those fireplaces inspected, get those fireplaces upgraded, or get a new fireplace for inside or for out. Or how about a wonderful fire pit to have out in your backyard where you can enjoy the cooler temperatures when they finally do get here. And yes, they will get here. Call my friends at Hearth and Patio today, 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282. Have them come out, inspect your fireplace, tell you about the upgrades, tell you about all the amazing ways that Hearth and Patio can make you feel comfortable when the cooler temperatures finally get here. That number again, Hearth and Patio, 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282 or online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com. Hearth and Patio. They keep the home fires burning.
Thank you for calling the Medicare Help Desk. How can we help you?
Can you help me choose the right coverage for myself and my wife?
We sure can. We can help you choose from Medicare Supplements, Medicare Advantage, or standalone prescription drug plans from over 30 different insurance carriers.
How much does it cost? We have a fixed income and can't afford extra expenses.
At the Medicare Help Desk, the consultation is completely free. We are here to help.
Thank you, Medicare Help Desk.
Hi, this is Justin Colvin, founder of the Medicare Help Desk. In my 17 years of experience, I routinely speak to seniors who are overwhelmed by the multitude of coverage options available to them. That's why I created the Medicare Help Desk, a place for you to get clear answers to all your questions and make sense of all the confusion. I've helped thousands of clients, and I live right here in Tallahassee with my family. I am active in my church and wish to help and serve my community. If you need help navigating the Medicare landscape, I'm easy to find. Just visit the MedicareHelpDesk.com. That's the MedicareHelpDesk.com.
Many orthodontists in Tallahassee can straighten a smile, but at Birch Orthodontics, they're dedicated to providing the finest care possible. The experienced and friendly staff is trained in all of the latest techniques. So whether you need standard treatment like braces or Invisalign, or you have a more complicated case requiring extra attention, Birch Orthodontics is here for you. Set up your free consultation today by visiting birchorthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com, or call 850-877-1692. At Birch Orthodontics, they create beautiful smiles that last.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT. Greta, Tallahassee.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Police in Memphis, Tennessee identified the body of a school teacher who went missing while jogging early last Friday.
Memphis authorities now say a body that drew a large police presence on Monday during an exhaustive search is that of Eliza Fletcher, a 34-year-old teacher and the granddaughter of an area hardware tycoon. Police say she was kidnapped while jogging, forced into an SUV around 4 a.m. Friday. The suspect, 38-year-old Cleotha Abston, was arraigned today on aggravated kidnapping, tampering with evidence, theft, and other charges. The judge scheduled an additional hearing for Wednesday, where he will now face charges including first-degree murder. Abston has a record. He was 16 years old in 2000 when he kidnapped a man at gunpoint and was released from prison less than 2 years ago. I'm Jennifer King.
Also at townhall.com, a federal judge on Monday granted a request by former President Trump's legal team to appoint a special master to review the documents seized by the FBI during a search of his Florida home last month. The decision by U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon. Correspondent Eric Tucker reports there's a chance the judge's ruling could be reversed.
It is unclear to what extent this decision is going to last because it is safe to believe that the Justice Department is likely to appeal to a federal appeals court to seek an immediate review or overturn of this judge's decision, because this decision could have significant implications or ramifications for the Justice Department's work. So it's safe to believe that they're going to want another set of eyes on this decision before it really takes hold.
Correspondent Eric Tucker. A new school year has begun in Uvalde, Texas, where a gunman killed 19 students and 2 teachers inside Robb Elementary in May. There is a newly installed 8-foot metal fencing that surrounds school campuses and a state trooper standing guard. Robb Elementary School itself will not reopen. On Wall Street, the Dow is down 137 points. The S&P is off 15. More at townhall.com.
The first conscious act in organizing our people is to let them know who they are.
From executive producer Larry Elder and director Justin Malone comes Uncle Tom 2, a deeper look at the true history of Black America.
There is no country in this world that a Black person would rather be, unless, of course, they grow up in this country.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
Uncle Tom 2.
Glass. You're probably driving right now, which means you're surrounded by glass. Did you know that each piece is made differently? Your windshield is 2 sheets of glass with a thin plastic in between. This allows it to take an impact without going all the way through. Side and back glasses are typically tempered. This strengthening process is what allows them to be shattered in the event of emergency. Regardless of the glass or how it breaks, we can help. Trust your local auto glass experts. Seminole Auto Glass, proudly serving the Big Bend for over 15 years. Better call Seminole.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Featuring Warchant.com's Jeff Cameron, managing editor Ira Schofel, and senior writer Corey Clark. Your weekly dose of all things FSU, pistols, and pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
Hour number 2, Seminole Headlines. Headliner questions about ready to get answered, or at least as many as we can get to this hour, brought to you by our friends. And, by the way, I don't know if you guys saw Dr. Birch Orthodontics. She tweeted at us that she was almost beside herself. She was so excited.
When?
It was to
And
you,
all
me?
of us?
Yeah.
Man, I missed some Twitters this weekend. I missed
There was a lot. There was a lot.
I missed the sausage promo originally.
Well, you got to be
when Ben
better
sent
about
it
that.
out.
You definitely have to be better.
And I
about
missed
sausage.
Dr. Birch. So this was like after the game or the next day?
I don't know. I just saw it on my timeline. I don't know when it was. Could have been 1 hour after the game. Could have been 19 hours.
I'll
Because we
go
were
find
busy. We were busy. But it was in there. The point is, I'm telling you now that she was very
I
excited.
was thinking about her last night.
Yeah.
Just what she must have thought about Jordan Travis's play, because
she had to be elated, right?
she's, might have been a little bit more in your camp.
Yeah.
Not putting her business out there, but I think she might have been a little bit more in your camp in terms of
For
the
good
confidence
reason.
level.
We're waiting for it to happen, and then it happened, so we
wanting,
can celebrate
wanting it to be there, but just
Sure,
not sure if
sure.
it's ever going to come. And so no, that's cool. And birchorthodontics.com is the website. Best orthodontic care you can get really in the free world. I mean, there's probably some communist countries where maybe they've got better orthodontic care. We don't know.
I doubt it.
But in the free world, I can speak for the free world.
Yeah.
And Birch Orthodontics is where you want to go. They've got the latest technology, Invisalign, all the great techniques and newest advancements in orthodontic work, free consultations, payment plans, best in the business, and they're happy about the Noles.
Very happy about the Noles.
We all are.
Yeah, everybody is. All right, here we go. We got a lot. I'm going to start with Twitter, Ira.
Yes.
Brandon writes, look at the PFF numbers on Warchant. I was surprised Amarion's number was so bad because of Booty's lack of production, and they seemed matched up a lot. Any thoughts on the secondary and why the coverage grades were poor despite seemingly like they mostly slowed down the wide receivers? Well, the fourth quarter didn't help, but I would also say
a 99-yard drive will hurt.
It'll hurt your numbers.
Scores. Yeah.
But again, you take into account in a coverage grade whether or not a guy, whether he catches a ball or not, there's other aspects of it. And if you have a quarterback who doesn't put it on a guy who's open, I mean, your corner still gets dinged.
Yeah.
So I think that there was a mixture there. Now, listen, Florida State's game plan quite clearly was this was as standard operating procedure as you can get. This is your classic 2 over the top. I'm going to get pressure with my front 4. I think I can get to your quarterback and harass and harangue him, and he's not an accurate passer anyhow.
And if you're doing that, you're going to probably give up some runs.
Yeah.
So they were willing to let Jaden Daniels run some. He ended up being their leading rusher with over 100 yards, but that's what you gave up to prevent him from getting to those receivers.
Yeah.
And make a big
Yeah. Well, and you probably went into the game. Look, it didn't come out of nowhere. Nobody just made it up. These receivers are very good, and they're looked at and well thought of by NFL scouts and the like. So he's looking at that film, the eye in this guy didn't lie, and saying, and I don't know. We give up too many, man one-on-one situations. We could have a problem here, even with Jaden Daniels. So we're going to give him help over the top, and we're going to hope, like hell, we can just rally to the ball and get him down, and that he will not be able to sustain a drive just running around. And if you look at the first half totals, they had 3 points.
Yeah.
So
they had 3 points until the fourth quarter, right? Or right at the beginning of the fourth quarter.
Right at the beginning, yeah.
Man.
And that's where some of the booty.
It's booty, yeah.
The TV people, I think, were saying booty. But anyway, somebody was saying booty. But anyway, he before we all say booty. Now
it's booty
all over the map. But anyway, he his frustration, I think, probably didn't start that day. I'm thinking coming out of camp,
he had a sense.
He's not thinking that this guy's going to give me the numbers that I want to have in my last year of college football.
He's thinking Nussmeier might be the answer, coach.
I actually said that during the game. I was like, I'm afraid if this kid plays any worse to start the second half, they're going to pull him, and maybe that kid's better.
I think if Akeem Dent doesn't push him to the ground, push him after the throw,
he might get benched.
I think that's 3rd and 10. If they don't convert there and they're punting it back down 17-3, late in the third, yeah, I think he's done. I think they bring in the other kid.
And Nussmeier might not be better, but he might probably you'd have to believe he is a better passer.
He is a better passer. Wouldn't be hard to be. I would also say that their other fear was they just simply can't block.
Can't block.
Oh,
Yeah,
for sure.
So
They had
that's
run
the
around.
biggest thing. Brian writes, "What's the register sausage code?" Ha! But seriously, would love to hear your take on
Blocked,
what you saw in
right?
NOLA.
No, it's blocked was the one for the
Now
the
it's
free
victory
one.
sausage.
Now it's victory sausage.
Victory
All
sausage.
caps.
We had an amazing weekend, and the war chant was heard everywhere. Also, the LSU fans I talked to said they started the wrong quarterback. Thoughts? Well, they're going to say that after that game. I mean, obviously they were frustrated, but I will say this to your other part there, Brian. It was impressive to see the Florida State contingent. That was
awesome.
It was awesome. Everywhere I went,
I bet you the players had no idea. I mean, like the Notre Dame game was a good environment, but
Yeah.
I don't know if it was.
They've never had an environment like that on the road.
Right.
I mean, that was, and I asked Pokey about it after the game, and he's like, yeah, I didn't know what to expect, but he wasn't expecting that. He said it even started at the hotel, and then to go out there, and it's legitimately, if it's not 50-50, it's darn close. 50-50.
and it was loud.
And it was really loud.
The band did a great job too.
Yeah,
Shout
for
out
sure.
to the band. They
Cheerleaders were
fantastic.
great. The flamethrower girls.
I didn't
with
even
the
notice
batons.
the cheerleaders at all.
I
But
tell you, the
but
baton.
the band was something.
The band is always great.
But the band was exceptional.
The baton twirlers that light it on fire.
That's every one of them now.
I know, but like how good must you get at it to say, let me try it now with fire?
I'd like to think you'd have to get very good.
Like
I don't think you're
10,000
haphazardly lighting both ends of a
10,000
baton
well,
and
that's-
say, let's give it a go.
Could go with blades. I mean, I feel like that would be a little bit
Chainsaws.
because I don't know.
That's not a flaming chainsaw.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, in honor of Al Dunlap.
There we go. That was really well played. Houston writes, what teams will FSU be underdogs to this year? It can't be that many with the ACC shaking out like it is. Well, again, week one is always where we get the overreactions, good and bad. It was not a great weekend for the ACC. There's no doubt. I have a feeling NC State will fix it, but I could be wrong.
I still think they'd be favored.
I
Unless
think
they
NC
lose
State,
a couple games.
NC
between
State's
now and
hosting
then.
the game. They'll be favored. Clemson will be favored. On the road at Miami, Florida State will be an underdog. That's 3.
Probably
Florida.
Probably NC State unless they.
Yeah. So NC State, Clemson, and Miami.
Maybe Florida. I mean, we don't really.
Maybe.
That's
We'll
a
see.
really good win for them. We'll see what it means moving forward. The quarterback's good.
Rising. Good God, man. What are you doing from
That's the
two?
worst. That's incredible. That's
I'm
just
still pissed.
Why would you try to fling it in there? You're in chip shot range to go to overtime, and it's
Also,
second
just
down.
use mobile. What are we doing?
It's second down. What are you trying to fit it into? There was no window there. That was really dumb.
It was a good scene though, man. Kim and I we were in a jazz band, and she's letting to listen to music, and I'm getting to watch that
Football,
game.
yeah.
It was
No, good times. I was at the Rusty Nail for that play, and I was watching, and there was a table in front of me of Florida State fans, and I thought it was rather interesting that one of the gentlemen must have lost a sizable amount of money because he threw his cup of beer against the wall. I was like, hey, man, it's week one, baby.
Yeah.
We got to slow our roll here. You're going to lose some games now. I know I don't want Florida to win either, but Jesus.
Maybe his inhibitions had gone a little bit
We're
too by that
in
time
an
of the night.
establishment.
Yeah, right.
This isn't
yeah.
your
Don't give
house or
Florida
your
State-
friend's
Don't
apartment.
give Florida State fans a bad name by just throwing your beer around.
Chris writes, last year FSU got their second win on October the 6th. This year they got it the earliest they have in program history. I assume I'm not Googling that.
That's
is what
probably
Chris says.
that probably is correct, right? 2-0 by September 3rd.
I like how
4th.
I like how he's going to just roll with it, just
yeah,
like he would.
I mean, how can you prove us wrong, kids?
Yeah. If they are bowl eligible by October the 8th this year, will Ira give us an hour number 2? Ira, you
That's
got to give us an
man,
hour
if they're
number
bowl
2.
eligible October 8th, yes, you should, man. Come on. I mean, it's 6-0, right? It's got to be. They'd be 6-0.
It would be so underwhelming though when they've had your hour number 2s in the past. Like, there's no way I can meet that standard.
Well, that's fair, and that goes for a lot of things, not just hour number 2s.
Clearly.
Ryan writes, does Jeff have Mike Norvell's luck with Wi-Fi? Yeah, that was well. You saw me. I was trying to get on there in the Superdome, and it got silly. Wasn't my fault. That was the Superdome's problem, and then we got it together after.
And the problem is you got a newfangled Mac, so I couldn't even help you out because I have no idea.
I think you're just old and it's operator error.
It wasn't operator error. He saw it.
I bet if Matthew was there, he'd have fixed it.
He
I bet
would not.
somehow Matthew would have gotten.
No,
on the
you could have
wireless.
had a 15-year-old there. They would have been like, "You're screwed. This Wi-Fi sucks. There's 60,000 people in here. I don't know what to tell you."
Did you get on Wi-Fi?
Somehow we're
Yeah, we got on.
Hold on a second. I also got on later. It was just not in time for the start of the pregame show. Is the problem, and at that point, Tom needed to take over. Also, I got through.
Hey,
It's
man,
just that
hey,
it just
you're
was a
getting
little
so defensive.
No, it was a little garbled. I think that was the 60,000 plus. You guys are just typing.
Daniel Cantrell came back, by the way, and had another
Well,
post.
good God, Daniel. Appreciate you. Well, but I'll get to him. I got to finish reading Ryan's question. Is Tatum Bethune the best linebacker we've had since Telvin? I think so, is what he wrote. Jeff, I'm 0-2 in my early gambling obsession. Am I cursed? No. At 0-2, you gotta double down, Ryan.
There's no way you lose 3 in a row.
Chase it.
Chase the money.
Yeah.
Chase
And
always.
if you lose 3 in a row, then just triple the bet because there's no way you lose 4 in a
Just
row.
No
keep
way.
chasing
No way.
Ryan.
Yeah,
It's
you can't-
mathematically impossible.
It's mathematically impossible to lose 4 bets in a row. So if you lose your first 3, just triple down on the 4th bet and you make your money back. Right?
Guaranteed.
That's how
Guaranteed.
people make. That's how
Foolproof.
people.
Most people
pull
know.
themselves out of a hole.
Yeah, if you get down, 10, 15 games, perhaps your mortgage, whatever it might be, but you got to
Increase
it. You got to really dive
You either
in.
believe in what you're doing or you don't.
Yeah. Should have never
it's only a
entered into
gambling problem if you lose.
Yeah, you can't enter into the fray with timidity. No, you can't do it. Sean writes.
There are numbers to call, by the way, if you do have real gambling issues. So please use
Also,
those.
if you don't get sarcasm, then that's on you. Sean writes, thoughts on your head coach jumping up and down like he just won the Super Bowl after the game. I'm all for excitement after a conference championship or natty. The season opener you almost gave away.
Sean, I really do think it was so much more relief than anything else. I remember what he did. Like, think about him at the end of the Miami game, which to this point was the biggest win of his career. He didn't go doing cartwheels down the sidelines after they won that game. He was in the moment saying, no, they can't spike the ball. They can't spike it. The game should be over. And then he just raised his arms in the air. But he's also an emotional dude. And I don't want people to get the impression that he's this guy that's just jumping on people's backs and glad handing them at practice all the time. He is a hard ass at practice. He does not. They love him. I think they really do like playing for him. At least most of them do.
Yeah.
But he is not just a player's coach that just goes around high-fiving and smiling all the time. He gets after him at practice, and he's an emotional dude.
And I also think it's not just, we kind of said earlier, he realized that he kind of got a get out of jail free card a little bit, but it wasn't just about that. I think it's about the players.
Yeah,
he knows
cares,
what
yeah.
they've put into it, and for them to have not been rewarded with a win would have been devastating. And I think he was happy for them.
We've got another contributor. My goodness gracious. Pop it up there, Daniel. Thank you very much. It's him again. As Ira pointed out, user error, try again. In my opinion, it was the perfect inning. Give kids assurance that they are doing the right things. Keeps them humble that it wasn't a loss. Underclass, particular for future culture. Yes, no, maybe go Noles.
I think so, man. That makes, I do. If they had, to Corey's point earlier, if they had won 31-10, maybe you don't focus on some of the things that you've screwed up. Like now they have a lot of things to really focus on.
Yeah.
Again, it goes back to that Notre Dame game last year where they played well enough to be in the game and they didn't get any better. It took a month before they got better again.
Also, you can get a feeling that you're snake bitten. And I think all those players probably thought after that kid caught that touchdown with no time left, after they get somehow a free play, that they're snake bitten. They can't win these games. These types of games, they just choked away one of the biggest wins. One of the biggest wins of their careers. They just choked it away. And then Shaheem Brown went and said, no, you won. And I just think there can be just a loosening of all the pressure and expectations, the pressure that comes with that. And now they don't feel snake bitten anymore. That could be a thing too. But I think
really
you probably would
wouldn't
prefer
be-
the 21-point win.
Sure, but I also wouldn't be overly concerned about my coach having a lot of fun with his players after a win that they sorely needed. I don't think that'll be his reaction after every win.
No.
That would be comical and a problem. But that's not who he's going to be after every win. It's that they nearly gave away a game they dominated, and he did feel a sense of relief because I think that, and Ira, you and I looked at each other in the press box. We understood the magnitude of what was happening. If somehow that had slipped away,
it's worse than Jacksonville State.
He's got a real problem on his hands.
No, it's a worse loss than Jacksonville State.
It's just incredible. I was talking to Coach Henshaw, who does the Henshaw's House columns for us, and I said, man, that is the worst profession. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Such a thin line, right?
How lucrative that position is. But if they take off now, look back at this game and what would have happened if it had gone the other way? If Shaheem Brown does not block that kick.
Does not make that play. Yeah, no, he may want to give a portion of his salary to Shaheem, but he's
who I love, by the way.
He's hilarious.
The fact that it was very Preston Parker-ish at Miami, where the LSU fans are throwing waters at him and stuff.
He's waving
and he's
goodbye. When he ran straight over to LSU's bench, I was like, is there about to be a fight? Because that is just cold-blooded.
Yeah.
I mean, that is ruthless.
he said they were giving the business before the game, so you want to give it back.
I thought I'm not sure, and I thought Bethune had a nice game. There's some stuff you can't do against. He's not going to. I don't know if he's going to play a ton in a spread against a spread offense like that. I'm not sure that he's better than Deloach.
Well, in this particular game, Kalen DeLoach was very, very good.
Yeah.
I think Tatum Bethune will be the more consistent linebacker.
Probably,
They're
but
also
that's
asked to do some different
It's a good thing to have. Like, it's not, Tatum Bethune on last year's team, especially early in the season, would have been by far the best player.
That's how much Kalen DeLoach has improved.
DeLoach
As your
is a player,
point.
man. He's a good player.
But yeah, if you're facing a team, Syracuse, for example, a team with a good running game, I think you're going to see more out of Tatum Bethune.
I do too. Now, Matthew writes a long-winded question about the end of that game, and okay, so listen, they screwed that up. The officials screwed that up because, first of all, if they had gotten it right,
yeah, I mean, why are we just assuming he's out of bounds?
It's nuts that guy, he's standing right there. So he misses the fact that he's down before he goes out of bounds. Now, the clock would temporarily have stopped because it was a first down, but they would have wound it immediately. And given the nature of that play, there's no way, in my opinion, that LSU would have gotten lined up in time to get the ball. The only thing he would have tried to do,
in my opinion, and maybe I'm wrong, I'm just I shouldn't assume this about Jane Daniels because he played a lot of football. I think in that instance, when he knows that they got to go, the clock's running, that the clock's going to run as soon as they set it and
you think he would have spiked it,
he's going to spike it and the game's over. And they would have won another game.
But we don't know that. But also because they stopped it and because they went to replay, then the officials were like, well, look, they're going to get a playoff because now everybody is going to line up as soon as he blows the whistle, they snap.
Okay, well, then make them do that.
Then they make them do it.
Not an untimed down.
I bet we found a loophole. I think we found something they're going to have to address.
He didn't even wind his hand. He just snap
when
you're ready.
Because it had stopped, yes.
But
they butchered it. And once they did, they couldn't go back and undo the butchering.
But didn't they screw LSU earlier where there was a play where LSU had momentum it was down at the goal line?
Well, they scored a touchdown.
Yeah, they scored a touchdown and they review it and say it's just
But I just think that in that if that's the way the rule is written, where if you screw it up and there's 1 second left and you got a first down, hey man, point out the safeties. Change the call. You've got all the time.
Run whatever you want to run.
That's ridiculous.
Now,
because the rules of the game is
the
clock starts as soon as the ball is set down.
Remember this. After they butchered it and took 45 minutes to review the butchering, which is something we have got to do better, everybody. But secondly, once they did that, Mike called timeout. Remember, he called timeout.
Yeah, but they were going to give an untied down either way.
I agree, but then
that's a good point. Did he call
timeout? He did call timeout. But they were already getting lined up.
Yeah,
they
he'd already said
get
one more play.
Well, but remember, there was a lengthy conversation between Mike and the officials. So whatever was being said there, and we need to ask Mike, he was being told, well, I'm sure he was being told, we screwed this up, but it was a first down. The clock's going to stop. Now it can't start because we've taken 10 minutes to review this whole thing. And then Mike was, well, screw it. I'm calling timeout then.
Yeah, but
I've already shown you what I'm lined up in. The whole thing was nonsense.
And also,
I just don't know why it takes 10 minutes.
Well,
the whole stadium saw that he was down.
Yeah.
Everybody saw it. What are we doing?
And also, I think Norvell challenged the call.
He did.
Well, that's dumb. What was the point? If you know the rules that they're going to get a free play no matter what.
Well, no,
what's the difference between him going out of bounds and him staying inbounds?
I think the reason for the delay was that the officials had to talk to the command center and say, what do? We have screwed this up.
Well, he was looking at that monitor.
We have screwed this up beyond reason. Well, you can just stare at a monitor as long as you need to get an answer.
Yeah,
what do I do? I screwed this up. I've stopped the game.
Well, I mean, if he didn't, what was he going to do? They had stopped it. I mean, what was
the point of challenging it? It didn't affect anything either way.
Well, he probably didn't know that they wouldn't.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But how would you know? I've never heard nobody that's ever watched that game has ever heard of an untimed down in a football game based on that.
But he knew the spike rule.
Well, that comes out. That's a rule that has been applied before.
Terry writes, fellas, I was so glad to get that win and celebrate with victory sausage. Can we just stop making it so difficult? I think you can now, Terry. I really think each time you get a win like this, it gets a little easier to procure wins. Like, I think they'll have the confidence to finish games.
Well,
I hope. Now, I do think our defensive coordinator is suffering from PTSD. I do believe
that was ridiculous.
I'm telling you, that's all Jacksonville State. Everything you saw at the end was because of Jacksonville State. You're not playing 25 yards off the ball and giving up free 20-yard plays if Jacksonville State didn't happen.
Probably.
That's very possible, but I would also say, man, freaking make a play. You have football players out there that can make a play, just like the Jacksonville State game. Again, man, we can blame Adam Fuller, we can blame Mike Norvell.
I agree, but you
effing push the guy out of bounds, get him on the ground, and the same thing happened in this game.
But both things can be true. We agree that when you're in a position to make a play, you got to make a play. You also don't have to be 25 yards off the ball.
No, I agree.
I mean, there was so much open space that he could just pitch and catch, and now you're an athlete in space. So
Yeah,
I'm going
and
to
one
make you
missed
miss.
tackle-
I'm going
one
to make
missed
you miss
tackle, you're in
sometimes,
trouble.
especially if I'm a good receiver. So sometimes I'm just going to make you look like a fool. Jaden Daniels did that to people too. You're like, well, get him on the ground. Well, hell, man, he's pretty good at running anyhow. And that's the frustrating part. You give him that much space.
There's a balance between you can't be playing bump and run at the 1 yard line when you're a minute. You want them to use clock to go down the field, but at the same time, you can't give so free swaths of yardage.
Massive swaths of yardage. Nick writes, how important was it for FSU's offensive line to have Maurice Smith back after missing last week?
I think it was a big deal, man.
Great snaps too, by the way.
Every snap was on the money.
Yeah,
I
every
mean,
snap was on the money. I agree with that. I
You
think
see
they
how
have
he snaps
options.
it?
And I think again, with all the stuff that they threw at Jordan, and guys got through, man. They brought pressure and some of it got home, but I thought they picked up a lot of it, and they never looked overwhelmed.
Yeah.
He certainly never did.
And I think that's part of
I didn't
what
think
he
they were
gives
getting
you.
the pressure that came at Jordan most times was because of a blitz that was
Right.
dialed up, not because you just couldn't block their guys.
Right.
I
There
thought
weren't too
that
many
was-
ass whippings.
Yeah, that was encouraging.
But you had a couple situations where two guys went to the
Yeah,
same
there
guy.
was
and
miscommunication. Yeah.
I think they're going to have to figure out what they want to do at right tackle, my opinion.
Well, he graded out the best out of any of them.
There's a couple things that I saw there that I worry about. There are aspects of his game that I do like. It will be interesting to see what they do. It's just nice to point out they have options.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got guys you can move around and try to figure this thing out.
Because Darius didn't play, right?
No, he didn't.
But he
looked available.
He
but
could
didn't
have, I
play.
think. And yeah, he's a nice backup to have. at multiple
Scooter
spots.
Knoll, by the way, weighed in here on the chat. Didn't have a question that I can see, but just weighed in and said, basically, contributed $50.
He just
Thank
said,
you,
"Here's some
Scooter
50."
Knoll.
Thanks, Scooter.
Really appreciate
he had a
you.
great
Oh,
time
had
at
a
the
great time
Howlin'
at the Howlin' Wolf. There you go. The question popped up.
We
Okay,
did too. It was tight. It was a little warm in there, but it was. We're very, very appreciative. I know there were some of you that came and went without getting to talk to us, and that's awful. It was just so crowded. But I hope the people that came had a good time and got to talk to at least one of us luminaries that were there at Howling Wolf.
Tons of commentary here. We have to take a break. I mean, it's going to be hard. We're not going to get to everybody here, but we'll get to a lot of you. And so I answered a nice swath of both Facebook and Twitter questions. Do you want to add one last thing?
We got some speed ones coming up.
You want me to do rapid fire?
Speed round, yeah,
All
of
right,
course.
rapid fire next. Seminole Headlines 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Hi, everybody. It's Ed Dean, Florida's #1 statewide radio talk show, now in Tallahassee, afternoon drive from 5 to 6 p.m. right here on Real Talk 93.3 FM. Yes, highly entertaining, fast-paced, never boring. We always give you the story behind the story when you catch the Ed Dean radio show. And we are ready to go. Tallahassee daily, 5 to 6 p.m. It's the Ed Dean radio show on Real Talk 93.3 FM, WVFT.
Hey Tallahassee, it's Sarah with Seminole Auto Glass. You're probably driving right now, which means you're surrounded by glass. Did you know that each piece is made differently? Your windshield is 2 sheets of glass with a thin plastic in between. This allows it to take an impact without going all the way through. Side and back glasses are typically tempered. This strengthening process is what allows them to be shattered in the event of emergency. Regardless of the glass or how it breaks, we can help. Trust your local auto glass experts. Seminole Auto Glass, proudly serving the Big Bend for over 15 years. Better call Seminole.
So let's say you're considering buying a new home in the current climate. We've all heard that demand is high, inventory is low. So how do you get a leg up on the rest of the buyers all making offers on the same house as you? Oh, that's a toughie. But the first place I'd suggest you start is with a call to my friend Shannon at Legendary Home Loans. Shannon will set you up with a complete pre-approval underwriting. This used to be an upgrade, but nowadays it's got to be standard. You want to get your offer on a new home pushed to the front of the line, you need a TBD full underwriting approval from Legendary Home Loans. You'll shorten or even remove your financing contingency, and the sellers will know that your offer is real and ready to go. It's tough out there these days, folks, so why not have the advantage of a proven winning team in your huddle? Get pre-approval underwriting from my friend Shannon with the one and only Legendary Home Loans. Call now. 844-FSU-LOAN, 844-FSU-LOAN, or just visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 2270146.
Over 50 years ago, when Paul Nicholson founded Paul's Termite and Pest Control, he had one goal in mind: provide the best service possible to his neighbors so they felt like family. Your problem was his problem, so today it's our problem. Paul's service area is our home. It's where our kids go to school, where we shop, and where we get involved, community organizations. So if some out-of-town company knocks on your door and begins pressuring you to sign an agreement for termite or pest control, you can bet on a few things. Number one, you'll never see that person again. Number two, your technician is likely to change often. And number three, your money will not stay in North Florida. These companies are sending your money to home offices in Atlanta, Orlando, Salt Lake City, or even Great Britain. Paul's Termite and Pest Control knows local means something to you. The health of your Tallahassee home, family, and pets is our number one priority. For the elimination of termites and pests and a greener lawn too, call your local company with local solutions. Paul's Termite and Pest Control.
Physical stress on our bodies can take its toll as the years go by. Whether you're looking to get back into an old sport or just want to spend more time outdoors to explore all life has to offer in our beautiful city, the dedicated team at TOC is here for you every step of the way. You can trust TOC for all your orthopedic needs. And now, scheduling an appointment has never been easier. Just visit teamtoc.com and click schedule online. That's teamtoc.com.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Is he running around outside?
Had a potty break.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
It worked.
Doing a radio show around here, partner.
It worked so well for him last time. He figured he'd take another one.
You ready to go rapid fire?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Rapid fire. First of all, I got to get back over to the board so I can see these questions. We have.
I got 1 second while you're doing that. So somebody asked in the chat about Dylan Gibbons making his post about Brian Kelly. He said something like, "There's no fake accents in here."
Yeah,
there's a picture of their locker room. One of his family members also made a post on Facebook and just used this quote to say, "Two of the greatest motivators in life are to prove someone right who believed in you, or to prove someone wrong who didn't."
There you go.
That's It says all you need to know about Dylan Gibbons and Brian Kelly.
Well, but that's not abnormal. When you leave a program, you're probably gonna have a little ill will towards the coach you left.
But also because of the fact he was there for 5 years.
Yeah,
looked like he was finally getting his chance, and then didn't. Basically, was told to hit the road. It seemed like.
Muscle Shoal Knoll writes, who in your opinion benefits the most from this bye week physically or mentally? Travis took some shots along with Lovett at the end. Their thoughts? I think the whole team is a little banged up, frankly, and could use this break.
Cooper, Johnny Wilson,
the offensive line.
The offensive line.
And Maurice Smith.
Maurice Smith could really use
that game
12 days.
Yeah, Maurice needs to get completely healthy because he does stay hurt a lot of
job
times. He does fight through it.
He does fight out there playing, man.
Next question, Random John. How much has your opinion changed on what our end of season record will be? Did we raise the floor or the ceiling both? Well, we raised the floor. I certainly believe that. I
think it raises the ceiling to me. I mean, I think you're to the point somebody made earlier. I think I just think that I could easily see 9-3 if they play the way they played for most of that game.
And stay healthy, get injury luck, get some turnover luck. They haven't even, have they had a turnover yet in 2 games? I don't think they've created a turnover. Like had one or created one. I guess the fumbled punts. If you get some injury luck and some turnover luck and actually take advantage of the turnovers instead of scoring 0 points after 2 fumbled punts, yeah, man, I think 9-3 is doable, but we'll see. Still wonder about this defense a little bit, but and the offense, all of it. Nothing's proven. It was 1 game, but it was a fun game.
Matt writes, has there been a QB in history that has improved as much as Jordan Travis did from last season? Yes. Seriously impressive. Only Ponder from 08 to 09 comes to mind for me, is what Matt writes. Jordan has improved immensely, but there have been a lot of quarterbacks that have improved. I'm not trying to take anything away from Jordan. In fact, I'm celebrating him today, and I did yesterday, and I'm going to continue to be excited about him. But there are guys who wouldn't get the opportunity who have improved.
And it certainly helped him that they've made
the decision.
Some improvements around him.
What's so cool, though, is that one play where he scrambles out. And I think Tom, not Todd. We don't have a Todd on the staff, do we?
We don't.
Tom brought it up on the – I know, Todd's a cool name. Those guys – have you ever met a Todd you didn't like?
Todd Bridges busy?
I interviewed Todd Bridges.
Okay.
All I wanted to talk about was that he shot somebody in the head, and we didn't really get a chance.
But hey, let's back on subject. But Todd Bridges, is he still alive? Didn't all those kids die? But yeah, so Tom talked about the play where Travis scrambles around. See how it is? I start talking, and Ira goes to his phone.
We could get Todd Fordham.
There you go, Todd, an old Nole, a great
Nole.
He scrambles around to his right. It's 1st and 15. It looks like he can run for at least 12 yards.
Yeah, and
the
he
old
keeps his
Jordan
eyes
Travis
downfield
would
and
have
makes
done
the
that.
throw.
And he hits Pittman for like a 24-yard gain on the run. Man, that's next level stuff that you haven't seen.
Millville Gunhouse, what does the game say to the SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey when considering expansion teams? I don't know that it says anything, but it doesn't hurt that you want it. And it doesn't hurt that you traveled exceptionally well, and it doesn't hurt that there was 6 million people watching.
6.3 million is a huge
those
number,
Those are all really good things.
Those are all selling points.
It was, man, the reaction from the entire Florida State administration, support staff told the story. They have to start winning games like this. Todd Bridges is 57 and alive, apparently. So,
there you go, TB.
So he's available.
All right.
You want to reach out to him?
Well, let's
get him on the show.
Let's
just
see.
Reminisce.
He might be confused.
R.A. Andrews writes, gentlemen, the LSU On 3 side has to give away a hat to get fans to pay $1. Did you harass them about that? Was Jeff more excited the block kick won the game or secured the under? Well,
yeah,
I did have the under. I did win my money on the first quarter, I should say. I had the first quarter under LSU 10.5 points. That came through easily. So
I lost my money.
I had that game pegged in terms of that.
But
I was doing it for the greater good. I was doing it for the greater good. It was weird watching both of y'all's reaction because remember I wasn't there. I walked back into you two guys just sitting there
staring at the field.
You were staring at the field. He was having to, I guess, tear up another game story. And you were just staring there
in awe.
And I'm like, man, they did win, right? And I had to look up and check the scoreboard. It did say 24-23 because, of course, I was in the dark. I hadn't seen what had happened.
Yeah, because we try to have the story ready when the game ends. I had a story written where they win when they're up 14 with 5 6 minutes
it's
to
a
go.
good story to write.
Then they
recover the punt. You're like, well, the game's over.
And then so I'm going back and forth, and then they end up winning because at that point I'm thinking, man, they're going to lose this in overtime.
So what was the headline if they lost?
No, the headlines was I was doing that last.
Yet? Okay.
No, headline was coming last.
I'm just kind of curious.
It
would
have been
written.
F all this.
It would have been like, are you effing kidding me?
Yeah,
that's all it would have been. That would have been good. Yeah,
fire Norvell.
Yeah. Hey fellas, double twin dad here. This is from Scott, the guy from last season that went from 1 to 3 kids and then 3 to 5. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah,
yikes.
Yeah, anyways, huge win for the Noles, but the bigger W had to be only waking up 1 out of 5 on that brown block. Well done, Scott. Well done. You only wake up 1 out of 5 on a block like that. I mean, I would have uttered expletives that the entire street would have heard.
Yeah,
in celebration.
But you were calm in the press box.
Well, I'm a professional.
You were a pro. You're a pro. I was not calm in the bathroom. I knew something great had happened.
Hey, now. Ward to Dunn writes, guys, overall, what a massive win for the program in Norvell. If the Noles beat Louisville to start 3-0, what would be the updated ceiling for this team? I don't think we have to update the records every week, guys. I don't think that we're going to do that on the show.
3-0 with BC and Wake coming, probably maybe Wake without their starting quarterback.
5-0.
You could really start to think 5-0, but this program is not anywhere near a place where you can just start checking off wins. They haven't done that yet, ever. They haven't done that in 4, 5, 6 years where you could just check a W off.
No, for sure. But I thought for them to go 8-4, I had them having to be about 4-1 after the first 5 games.
Yeah, you and I both did.
Now they could be 5-0. Now that makes me think, okay, 9 wins is definitely possible.
It's going to be fun, man. I mean, we'll go back to the beginning of the show. The shifting of expectations, it certainly is what happened when you win football games. If you continue to win football games, you'll have the entire fan base thinking that 11 wins is possible.
Yeah. But it's cool that they played. It wasn't smoke and mirrors. They weren't lucky to be in the game. They were unlucky that it was a game. That's what's so encouraging.
I will just say this, and it's not meant to put a damper. If FSU loses a game here in the very near future, hopefully not to Louisville, but if they do, remember, losses happen for a reason. And when they happen, even if you had it in your head that it was possible in the preseason, they elicit emotions. So right now, Cloud 9, 10-2, it's in the minds of a lot of Florida State fans. Fair enough. Lose a game in which you're favored. Let's see what that reaction is.
For sure. The other thing I would say, though, is, you made the point earlier. Corey was talking about how good it might have been you, how good it was for the other players to see Jordan play like that.
Step up like that.
It was me. I made that point.
It was a well-reasoned point.
Thank you.
But I honestly think that kind of was already in them because of the confidence they had in him last year. Like, I don't think they liked Mackenzie Milton. I don't think a lot of the players felt like he gave them the best chance to win.
We agree.
And
we're all on board.
So
with that
you
thought.
look at the last 7-8 games with him at quarterback, when he was available and healthy, they were in or had a chance to win or won all those games. And now you have him back as a better passer.
As a better passer, that changes things.
I mean, it does change what's possible.
9-3 in the 12 games he started, the last 12 games he started and played the majority of the game. They're just started. They're 9-3 in the last 12 games he started. And those 3 losses were overtime to Notre Dame, 3-point loss at Clemson, a 3-point loss at Florida. They're a team with him. They're a competent top 25.
And he's better than he was a year ago.
Who wins that game, LSU, FSU, if that game goes to overtime? Does it take more than one overtime to decide? That's from Scott. I'm not entirely certain if that game goes to overtime, Florida State loses, because they'll get to get the ball on the 25.
I know who loses if he goes for 2.
That's correct. That's the better answer.
Yeah.
And that's why he should have gone for 2.
That's crazy that you were a house money, man. It's crazy you were in that position to have one play to win the game. Go try to win it. That's crazy.
Was it Jacksonville State? Who was it that year? ULM.
Oh,
ULM.
Yeah.
ULM could have gone for 2 and beat.
He would have walked in
and missed the extra point.
Yeah. Good afternoon, gentlemen. I'm sure everyone's excited after the win and what it means for Norvell and the program. But what is going on with Fitzgerald? Is he a lost cause at this point? I don't see how Mike can trust him. Well, it's a fair point, Seth. I wouldn't trust him. I'm not so sure he did trust him, because if you think about the play call there where they fumble the ball, I wonder if he's not going to settle for a field goal, because in theory, at that point, and you pointed it out, Ryan Kelly's not even calling timeouts. The game is over.
Yeah.
You could take a knee 3 times and let the clock run and kick a field goal, and the game is over. But if you don't trust Slappy to make a 20-yard field goal, then maybe you call a toss.
I think he trusts him 30 yards and in.
You think so?
I think if that's a 36-yarder, he's
the
really
point remains they got a problem.
Yes.
He did stop kicking out of bounds. That was a positive.
He's kicking it to like the 7, though.
I mean,
man.
Look, they didn't go out of bounds.
I mean,
it's disconcerting. Were the officials correct at the end of the game with 1 second remaining? I assume if it hadn't been miscalled originally that they would have moved the chains, blew the whistle, and then the game would have been over. Well, Brian, that's just it. If they had gotten the call right, that he was down in bounds, they would have placed the ball, they would have moved the chains, wound the clock.
Which should have happened since he did get tackled in bounds.
Well, that's
pretty clear.
Correct. But they didn't. They didn't get it right. So we ended up with the debacle that we ended up with, where they were kind of, I think, making it up.
And they had 11 minutes to think of what play they wanted to run from the 3.
So the football gods took care of Florida State with the Shaheem Brown block. That's my story.
Shaheem Brown took care of Florida State, man. All time. Build the statue of that kid. It's all-time block.
Jeff Rice, do you think the Noles are in a better place going forward, winning 24-23, than they would have winning 31-17? That's interesting. We've had several people kind of bring up that point.
Wait, did it just
6
say
and 1, half dozen the other?
Read the start of that question again.
You think the Noles are in a better place?
Did he say Jeff?
No, his name is Jeff.
Oh, okay. I thought he was just asking you for your opinion. Come on now.
What was the crazier finish, ECU versus NC State or UNC versus App? Oh, UNC and App State. That was insane.
Florida State needs to play that UNC defense this year.
Well,
they'd feel good about themselves.
I do think North Carolina has a quarterback.
Yeah,
Damn it, man. I mean, that kid's good.
Well, they better.
Well, they better is right, because they're not going to stop anybody. Okay. One more before a break?
Are these all Twitter?
No, back and forth.
Look
back
at you.
and forth.
All right, good.
Back and forth. I'm trying to do everything I can here, guys. Great win for the program. Which of these stats is the most surprising from that game? That's from Brad. He writes, FSU 11 of 17 on third down. That was impressive.
That's I can't even imagine what the next ones are going to be. But
well, this is a pretty good one. Pokey was 7 for 102 and 2 tutties.
Pretty good.
I'd still say third downs, man.
Booty, 2 catches, 20 yards.
Another good one.
Oh yeah,
yeah, that's a
You're
good
right.
one.
I probably Booty.
I think probably
I would have thought
Booty
they
as
would
well.
have force-fed him the ball.
Well, if you listen to our own Dominic Robinson during the watch-along, he
Great job by
pointed out,
Tom and D-Rob, by the way.
absolutely. If you listen to him, he's furious with LSU because Florida State is giving them yardage in the pass game that they're willing to keep in front of them all day. The catch that Booty makes, his first one, D-Rob is pointing out, that's been there all night. They can run that anytime they want. They should force FSU to get out of this. But they didn't. So that's poor coaching. And that's just poor coaching by Brian Kelly.
There was a lot of stuff. If you're an LSU fan, there was a lot of they didn't look prepared. I mean, there were things.
Well, think about how bad their special teams were. I mean, like, you can't draw up a worse night for special teams, and we've seen some pretty bad ones. I mean, good Christ, you miss it. You have a field goal blocked, an extra point block, and you muff 2 punts.
And then I think after the 4th down try down near the goal line that was incomplete, LSU gets the ball back with like just over a minute to go before the half, and they have to call timeout before the 1st down because I think they might have had 12 guys.
They had 12 guys on the field. That's correct. Yeah. They looked ill prepared. But the point I made yesterday, I think it was yesterday you're right. We've all been talking on so many things. It's not unusual. I'm reminding myself that LSU is where Florida State was at a few years ago, where you have a broken culture, a locker room.
With some talent.
With a lot of talent.
The culture matters, man.
Well,
it really does.
When you've got some veteran players who aren't buying in to the new coach because they're going to be gone in a year.
You think that might have happened in Norvell his first year, maybe?
Right. So you're watching them look completely like they don't know what kind of team they are. They don't know what they want to be. They don't know what they have.
You don't really see him talking to players too much either. It's him talking to the assistant coaches.
He's trying to figure out who wants to be there. I mean, and the Norvell had to do that. You remember that. You're kind of like looking around like, is this guy buying in? He said the right things when I sat across from him in my office, but I'm not seeing it out here today.
Yeah.
Because when the lights come on, it's different than when you're having a conversation in a meeting room. In a meeting room, the kid's going to tell you what you want to hear. Then you get out there where you got to sacrifice. You got to do things for the guy next to you. And if you're not all bought in, it ain't going to happen. And I think he's sitting there learning that as the game goes along. I talked to 2 LSU people after the game. They were like, it cracked me up. We were walking down. One of the guys said, he's like, oh, they got bigger problems than this fan base realizes. Mm-hmm. Well, the people in the stands were watching. It was not unlike Florida State fans 3 years ago going, oh, boy.
I got a question for you guys, but we're going to a break, right? I want to tease this. But I think I got a provocative one. I'll just say that provocative one, but I don't want to say what it's about.
Provocative question coming from Corey Clark.
Get ready. Hold on to your seatbelt.
Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Your local news now.
The McCulloch County Sheriff's Office announced a week-long search for a missing elderly couple came to an end with a tragic discovery. Johnny and Eddie Ruth Green were found in a rural part of Lafayette County Saturday. Johnny did not survive, and Ruth was taken to the hospital and treated for dehydration. WCSO did not elaborate on the cause of death or share any other details about the missing couple. They had been last seen on Spring Creek Highway in Crawfordville August 29th. FDLE issued a silver alert Thursday to help find the couple. The Tallahassee Police Department responded to a shooting Friday night that left one person injured. According to TPD, the shooting happened on the 2900 block of Mahan Drive around 10:20 p.m. TPD said the victim is suffering non-life-threatening injuries. One potential subject has been identified, but no arrest has been made. This is an ongoing investigation. No further information was released. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Chance for scattered thunderstorms this afternoon. Otherwise, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Highs level off around 93. Winds out of the west, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chance for scattered thunderstorms again tonight. Lows dip down to about 74. Partly cloudy skies. Chance for scattered storms tomorrow. Highs level off around 90. Cloudy skies expected. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 92.
Many orthodontists in Tallahassee can straighten a smile, but at Birch Orthodontics, they're dedicated to providing the finest care possible. The experienced and friendly staff is trained in all of the latest techniques. So whether you need standard treatment like braces or Invisalign, or you have a more complicated case requiring extra attention, Birch Orthodontics is here for you. Set up your free consultation today by visiting birchorthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com, or call 850-877-1692. At Birch Orthodontics, they create beautiful smiles that last a lifetime.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
We need to have history. We need to have literature. It deserves an explanation. We don't need to be promoting lifestyles that come into play for your average elementary school.
Well, I had an experience with this. When my daughter was in school, her teacher gave her a book to read, but then she asked me what the C word is.
That was in the book.
That was in the book.
Okay, so talking about the C word. So you're talking about conservatives, right?
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3.
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
All right, Corey Clark, you're on with the provocative question, and it reads what?
It's me. It's my question. It's just 30 seconds, but what do you think Travis Hunter was thinking watching the game Sunday night?
You think he was watching it?
Yes.
That they just gotten a giant win over FAM?
In front of 11,000 people that nobody watched. Or that stage with 6 million people watching in that Superdome. Look, I'm
thinking, man, I'm going to go to the ATM and pull out
he had money here.
He would have $1,000 and do whatever I want.
All right. Well, that's cool. But, 2 more years of that?
Listen, I doubt 2 years of that is going to happen.
But do you think there has to be an ounce of, man, that would have been a lot of fun to be on that stage? And look, they could use me in the prevent. They could use me when their other team's trying to go 99 yards, probably.
Oddly, it feels a little bit like what I think when I see a live golfer celebrating a nothing win in an exhibition while watching like good PGA Tour events that actually affect your legacy, and then thinking, well, I've got a ton of money.
But
I don't know.
Travis Hunter can have a ton of money wherever he goes. He can have a ton of money at every school in the country. But he also has a stage matters too. That's all. Anyway, it's a great win.
Jason writes, which is dirtier?
And I'm not bitter, gang. I'm not bitter.
I was going to say,
he's from my home county.
Not really on my mind.
He's from Gwinnett County, so you grew up 9 miles from where I live. It would have been cool to cover him.
Actually, I'm going to read 2 questions that make me smile. Vernon writes, I sat next to a guy at the game who was wearing an authentic Alex Hornibrook jersey.
Oh, nice. Old Hornswoggle's back.
Yeah. What's the most obscure FSU jersey you've ever seen somebody wearing? That one. That one.
That has
Vernon, that's the best one I've seen.
I thought it was pretty funny on Bourbon Street. I saw Lonnie Pryor wearing a Jameis Winston jersey.
Nice.
I was like, is he trying to let people think?
Man, I wish I had ran into my man Lonnie. I didn't see him.
He seemed like he was having a good time on Bourbon Street.
Sure. I would have had a beer with him or something, some sort of drink. Jason Wright, which is dirtier, that targeting hit on Travis or Bourbon Street gutters at 3 a.m.?
The gutters. And so you guys, when you're there Friday and Saturday night, you don't even get a sense of it because it's just so many people. Man, when you're there on a Thursday night like I was, just kind of walking the streets and there's not that many people on Bourbon Street, you really get a sense of, oh man, this is crazy. This is crazy. They just don't care. You just throw whatever you want. But it's cool. It's a good time. Had a really good time. Really good in New Orleans.
It's just, I've said this every time I've left both Las Vegas and or New Orleans. It's time to go home.
Yeah.
Every time I've left either one of those places, like a lot of vacations and things you go on, you're like, oh, I wish we had another couple days.
No, New Orleans.
You never say that about New Orleans. Nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying you're ready to go by the time it's time to go. And same for
we
Las
should
Vegas.
say that Jordan Travis just tweeted out like an hour ago that Ollie Gay, the kid that targeted him in the helmet, reached out to him and apologized.
Listen, I want to go back to this. It was ugly. It was a terrible scene.
Never seen anything like it last 10 years.
I mean, probably seen a couple of weird ones. But the only thing I'll say is, again, watching his reaction, I don't think he realized just how bad it was. He was appalled at himself. Like, go back and watch. It almost takes his breath away. He realized, like, I did that? Jeez. I mean, you can lose your mind out there. It's an emotional game. You're angry.
The kid won't go down. You keep running after him all night. And
he's made you run ragged. You can't get him down. He's throwing accurately, which I'm sure they didn't expect. He's probably frustrated as all hell. Nathaniel writes, no excuse. Shouldn't have done it, but he got kicked out for it. There you go. Nathaniel writes, guys, how do you balance the great job FSU did to thwart the LSU passing game for 3 quarters with how flawed and possibly not 100% healthy Duke looked down the stretch? Was this sound scheme, one read and run Jaden Daniels? I'm trying to figure out how much to freak out with elite QBs on the future docket. Well, Jaden Daniels not elite, and you're right to point out to freak out that there will be more accurate passers that we'll see. But I also think it's fair to point out that he had to run because Florida State's defensive line was getting pressure for him. So,
maybe the first read wasn't open that much.
It wasn't.
Yeah, so that's good.
And they got pressure on him. But I brought it up earlier in the show. We've got to see Duke Cooper playing better. I don't know what else to say. I mean, I need him to show me something, and I haven't seen it.
I also wonder if the prevent it was more magnified to be in the prevent because of those receivers. I mean, you're scared to death of those guys. You got to keep those guys in front of you. But maybe you don't do that against other teams down the stretch.
Quick Twitter question here while we still have time. It took FSU playing at max potential to outlast the sloppy LSU team. Ronnie, here's where I'm going to disagree with you in the middle of the question. I don't think Florida State played their best game.
No.
Nowhere close to their best
And
game.
they left 17 points out there at least.
And think about a couple of the passes, like not only the passes that were dropped in the end zone that could have been touchdowns for Florida State, the pass to Pokey down the sideline was perfect.
Yeah.
Pokey just barely was out of bounds. I mean, Florida State had some other kill shots in that game.
If Johnny Wilson catches the touchdown, if Cam McDonald catches the dime in the middle of the field, there's a lot there. He went on to say they look great, but do you think they'll be able to maintain that level of intensity week after week? Yeah, I think they'll be intense. They're hungry. They're starving. I think Florida State is a starving program. These guys got a taste of success, but understood that, and they will understand after going to that film meeting, that they left a ton out there. So this is not something to take for granted. I think they will play hard, and I think they'll play better. I think they'll play a cleaner game. I think you'll see greater consistency. The offense is sustainable. They're not a perfect team. They're going to lose a couple games, guys. But
I did like the way I like the way Jordan Travis and the offensive line, everybody operated with it. When the LSU crowd got into it, they were into it. But Louisville will be different. That you will not have any fans there.
Yeah,
maybe
that's not true. You'll have a few.
Yeah,
I bet you'll have 8.
Not that make a noticeable difference.
Yes,
you won't feel like it's half and half.
It won't be a neutral site game.
And so that's going to be a challenge. We'll have to see how they handle that.
I got to give Rich credit for the picture in the observation. He writes, is there anything more Florida State than sitting in a spring river with a cold beer listening to Seminole Headlines? Hashtag cold water for that ass. It's a great picture if you haven't seen it on Twitter. I know, Ira, you responded to it, so that was good. It's well done. Well done. And it's a beautiful picture. Anyhow, from a coaching standpoint, the way Fuller sets up prevent rushing only 3, why not all defensive ends or 3 quicker players on the field? You're effectively conceding the run anyway. Would it not be more effective than having Lovett and Coop and Briggs trying to chase a quarterback like Daniels?
Yes.
They did have Cooper out there for some of that.
It doesn't make any sense. And so we haven't gotten to talk to Adam Fuller. I don't know. Maybe we'll get to talk to him after tomorrow's practice. We're not sure. But yes, that is a question that has to be brought up. Having Robert Cooper out there in a 1-minute drill when they have to go 99 yards just makes 0 sense.
Real quick, FSU Stu brought it up in the chat, and it looks accurate. Sam Hartman has been cleared to return for Wake Forest. And look, man, I thought before he got injured or whatever happened to him, I thought Florida State was going to win that game. You have to beat Wake Forest, even with Sam Hartman at home. And to me, it doesn't change a whole lot, but he is going to be back.
Could be a shootout. Could be a shootout.
Right. I think it changes a lot in the sense that Florida State, I still like them to win the game. I agreed with you before the start of the season that needed to win that game to get where they want to go. But I think it becomes a lot closer game. Yeah, he provides a problem because I do think, right now, my chief concern right now are the corners. So we'll see. And he will pick them apart if they can't get to him. But maybe they get to him. So, hey, listen. One game at a time, guys.
Yep.
That's all I'm saying.
Hey, but
we need to stop looking ahead.
But there's some reason to be excited about these matchups.
And you can't get to 12-0 until you get to 2-0.
And they're 2-0.
You're 2-0, baby.
And on that note, for Corey and Ira, I'm Jeff. Our thanks to Director Matthew and all of you. Be good, everybody. We'll talk to you throughout the week. Don't forget, warchant.com. Sign up right now. It's just $1.
Just $1.
Just $1.
$1.
Peace, everybody.